Because we're SEC Nation and we love it here. SEC Nation live from the SEC Championship. Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern. Presented by Dr. Pepper on the SEC Network and streaming live on the ESPN app.
Hey, it's Max Kellerman from Keyshawn, J. Will and Max. They told us we can give you guys anything we wanted. So, of course, everyone what? We're giving you cash.
You want to talk about money?
We're giving away $10,000 a day, and all you have to do is listen for your chance to win.
Your chance to win $2,500 every hour until December 7th with Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max. It all starts weekday mornings at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN2.
WYNG 1410 Dayton, Dayton's ESPN Radio. Reds fans, Arrowhead Tax Service brings you the Justin Kinner Show, live from Reds Fest this Saturday at 11 a.m. on Dayton's radio home of the Reds, 1410 ESPN Radio, and online at wingam.com.
Hi, everybody. Welcome in the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio. Mr. Kev Nash, welcome, sir. How are you?
What up, though?
Excited for today's show because I've just been thinking, we haven't spent a lot of time on college football lately. And just when I thought it was going to be a show that we maybe shied away from a little bit of college football talk, it's been wall-to-wall college football news kind of popping out left and right today. We will spend a very good majority of the show on some NFL stuff today. Browns, Bengals, of course. The Bengals, someone sent a note, a nasty email to me. I'm amazed at how many people during their work day, they'll be doing their job, and then they stop and say, you know what? That damn Kenner, let me find his email. Before you worked in radio, at any point, did someone that you listened to on the radio ever piss you off to the point where you sought out their email address to send them a harshly written letter?
Never.
And I never did either. I mean, that's what Twitter's for. But, yeah.
Passionate, man.
Anyway, upset because how convenient. The Bengals are winning football games, and now all you focus on is college football. Now, I'm here to tell you, I love a good troll move. And although that may sound like something I am purposely doing, that's just I don't believe in coincidences, but that is just a coincidence. I mean, this week, Kev and I were talking about that before the show. It's weird, because there's the sports, I have, to flip a switch to sports radio host switch that I have to flip, and then fan switch that I have to flip. The fan in me, is like, man, Ohio State losing is just absolutely horrible. Now, I'm not saying I condone the loss to that team up north, but when Ohio State loses to that team up north, it's not my switch that's flipped. It's everyone else's switch that is flipped. You guys you're out of your gourds, man. It's just been absolutely insane. It's been a crazy week numbers wise and just interaction wise and just the passion and anger and excitement and all this stuff, man. It's been a fun week, all things considered, that we're still kind of a little salty about what happened last Saturday.
A little bit, just a little bit.
But our teams have always been interesting enough to where so the Browns, Bengals, they're at least to the point now where both have expectations to it. Before it was they would lose. That's what they're supposed to. They're the Bengals. That's what they do, right?
Browns is the Browns.
Browns is the Browns. That's what they do. So them losing didn't spark a reaction. Them winning, it was oh, cool. That's what a win feels like. And then you move on. But both teams right now, and the Bengals are ahead of the Browns right now, coming off that Super Bowl appearance, all that fun stuff. But now there's expectations. So when you have teams that you follow that have expectations, that really just adds a whole other element to what we do. Because now when the Bengals, when they win, it feels good because you know how hard it is to find these wins. But man, when they lose, it's like the sky is falling, right? When the Browns, when they win, we talk a lot of stuff, but when they lose, the sky is falling. So those teams are perfect. They're just good enough. They are just good enough to win games and draw fans in, that when they do lose, we know what that losing feels like. We know that one loss could turn into 2 losses and then 3 losses. We know how that can all of a sudden swing back in the other direction. So everyone's on their toes this week with the Browns and the Bengals and the Buckeyes, the 3 Bs, not the Better Business Bureau, but the Browns, Bengals, and Buckeyes. It's just been a crazy week.
Yeah, we talk about this all the time, and it's kind of a conversation we have off mic, but the climb to the top is far more exciting than being on the top and only having expectations of winning a national championship. When you look at other teams out there, I'll take the other team that I root for in college football, Florida State. Obviously, they reached the highest of the highs and hit the lowest of the lows. They won the last national championship, I want to say, in 2013. The last BCS championship, and they went undefeated the following season, got blew out by Oregon in the college football playoff the same year that Ohio State won it all. And then they've been on a slow but surely down, and then they exploded with Willie Taggart and everything like that. But now they're on their way back up. Yep. They're headed back up. They beat their rivals. They beat Miami. They beat Florida. They didn't get blown out any this season. They had a 3-game losing streak in the middle of the season, but before the 3-game losing streak, they beat LSU in New Orleans, and then they beat Florida to close out the regular season. Now they're going to go to a decent bowl game. So that ride to get back to 10 wins is far more exciting than anything that's happened with Ohio State this entire season. Like, outside of the Notre Dame game, that excitement going into that game, and then leading up to the game versus Michigan, hasn't been too much excitement. It's because we have this destination named the national championship, or the season is a bust. So I've always said the ride back to the top is far more fun than being on the top, only concerned about winning it all.
Yeah, for instance, I think TCU fans they've enjoyed their college football season more than Buckeye fans. And I would have said that whether Ohio State would have beat Michigan or not this past Saturday, I still would have that take. I'm not saying TCU's enjoyed their season more. They're undefeated. Ohio State has a loss. Of course so. No, I mean, like, we poke the things that we critique about them, coming back from behind to win against some 3-4 loss teams, those things that we critique because we hold our team to a different standard, or at least the team has gotten to that point where we have to have that standard for them. TCU, they're new money. It's not like Cincinnati last year. Too many people, including me, were trying to jump on the fact that we only beat Tulane by this. You only did this. You only did that. But like, to them, they're winning. They're in the national spotlight. That was the best season ever, right?
Right.
And that's kind of what's happening, with TCU right now, although they're a bigger program or have been around a lot longer than Cincinnati. But nonetheless, it's going to be interesting to see how everything unfolds. NFL, I promise you we're going to get to NFL, but I want to open up with this just so we can maybe kind of transition out of the college football conversation. College football, good luck. College football announced today, real quick, Mark Smith, he jumps in, by the way, Kev, says, if you would just admit that the third-ranked quarterback in the NFL is elite, then your life would be easier. Josh Allen is elite. I agree. I don't know what you want me to do. What are you talking about? I mean, this season it's Patrick Mahomes, Tua Tagovailoa, Josh Allen. What are we talking about? It's those three quarterbacks and everyone else. I don't know what you want me to say, but anyways, college football. So 14 playoff. We've talked about this topic at nauseum, but it's official. Starting in 2024, the 14 playoff will be no more. We get one more fun playoff season next year, and then we get 3 months of football and one really fun month of football, to where at least next year we'll get 3 months of fun football and 1 month of fun football. It's the whole package at 14 playoff, in my opinion. But the 12-team playoff, it's coming. It'll be here in 2024. So next season, one more just 14 playoff run, and then the year after that. And I find this fascinating because, like, when we hear that, we don't know what that means. We don't know what it's going to look like. But when you take what today's format looks like and just kind of present it on how it would look like then, Ohio State would be hosting a playoff game. They'd be hosting Tulane with the current rankings that just came out the other day. Bottom line is, I know we spent a lot of time on this. We'll hit this quick, and then we'll read some people's reactions, maybe take your calls if you have hot takes on this yourselves. But I don't think this wasn't huge news today, because we've always felt this was coming.
Right.
We've debated whether or not it should come or not, but like at the end of the day, we knew that this was going to come at some point. There's been a lot of rumblings on it. We knew it was just a matter of time, but it's official. 2024 12-team college football playoff format. The season ending January 20th. Now, I mean, we're talking like really pushing it back by a couple of weeks. Interesting stuff, but yeah, the 12-team, it's here.
Yeah, it's here, and it's going to be a whole new world order, for all the teams out there that, begging about the 5th and 6th spot. Now we're going to be arguing about the 12th, 13th, 14th spot. And currently those teams in those spots, if my computer starts working, so teams that are in the 12, 13, 14, 15 spot, Washington, 12, Florida State, LSU, Oregon State. Those are the teams that are be vying for that last spot in the college football playoff. And the only team that would basically control their own destiny in that scenario would be Washington. Well, it wouldn't even be Washington, because they don't play in the Pac-12 championship game. Utah will be controlling their own destiny. Utah will be basically saying, like, all right, we're going to be in it or we're not going to be in it, because if you take that loss, you're probably going to drop out of the top 12.
So ESPN.
So Utah's a hot team, regardless, this playoff and next playoff.
So this potential 12-team playoff, this is what it would look like. You know, Georgia, Michigan, TCU, USC would all get the bye. They'd get a bye. And then everyone else, you know, in teams 5 through 12 would all be seated and positioned in a way to go against one another. So again, everyone out there that says, I can't believe you would think that playoff is going to be horrible. No, listen to these matchups. It's not going to be horrible, but you're totally missing the bigger point of what I'm trying to say. Let's start it, you know, in the 9-8 matchup, you'd get Clemson and Penn State. That's a hell of a playoff game.
Nice.
That's going to be that would be a hell of a playoff game. Hell, that might be, that could be a bowl game in itself right there anyways this season. But yeah, Clemson, Penn State, that's one heck. And again, based on the rankings that just came out Tuesday night, this is what the 12-team playoff would look like. Clemson versus Penn State, Utah against Alabama.
Nice.
We got to see Utah versus Ohio State last year in the Rose Bowl. Utah, Alabama, very different matchup. But let me preface it by saying this: not these bowl game matchups. This is Utah at Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
Alabama fans would actually get to see someone other than, you know, William and Mary or whatever they usually put in there. That's not in the SEC schedule, right? Alabama would host Utah. Penn State would host Clemson.
Last time they played Utah beat them.
Yeah, and that's why it was the last time. But imagine Penn State at night, a whiteout, Clemson in town, maybe snowing. You know what I mean? Like insane. That would be a cool scene.
Definitely.
Kansas State and Tennessee. All right, not the most intriguing, but be very, very good. And I think that the playoff is going to help more programs like Kansas State, who are going to get, you know, we don't watch Kansas State, but you put it under a college football playoff umbrella type matchup, we're going to watch Kansas State now. And that's only good for the brand of some of these teams. How about Tulane? Would be at Ohio State. Imagine that, by the way. Ohio State gets a home playoff game, and you could have Clemson, you could have Alabama, you could have Tennessee, and you get Tulane. What are they? The Tadpoles? What's Tulane? The
Green Wave.
See, we're learning. The playoff helps us. It educates us on some of these other teams. But no.
Would our spoiled fan base show up to that game, or we just watch it at home?
No, I mean, if this is a playoff game, I think we show up. Like, I'm really curious how this goes. So, by the way, with that being said, keep in mind, Nicole Arbach, I hope I pronounced her name right, does a very good job covering college football for The Athletic, but she had tweeted out earlier today that there's rumblings that if Ohio State does not make the playoff, that they traveled so poorly last year, filling up the Rose Bowl, that they may not pick Ohio State this year, that they would pick Penn State. Because Ohio State fans, like, by the way, I didn't think I was out last year. Everyone thought I was just being hoity-toity, saying that I look down on the Rose Bowl. It doesn't mean anything. Ohio State fans, for as many of you yelled at me, Ohio State fans agree. They didn't travel. They didn't care about the Rose Bowl because it's not the Rose Bowl anymore. You may be playing at the Rose Bowl, but it's not the Rose Bowl anymore. So, like, I found that interesting. So there's that. John Sladen's message is in. He brings up a good point, Kev. Wonder what ticket prices will be for these playoff games. Another guy on Facebook earlier said it would be interesting to see the ticket allotment, who gets access to those. You know, do the students get access to those? Do the, you know what I mean? Like, it's going to be, it's going to be heavily politicized as far as, I mean, all of a sudden, hey, if you NIL donors out there, it's going to be, you know, how much you willing to spend. So there's that. Dennis Snyder says, so will they be combining other bowl games, Rose Bowl, Orange Bowl, etc.? Yes, that's what the big holdup was, is the Rose Bowl was just almost throwing a temper tantrum. They didn't want to give up that 3:30 time slot on New Year's Day, because
they want to have a sunset and all that jazz.
It adds to the mystique of the Rose Bowl. But that's the thing. The Rose Bowl is not the Rose Bowl anymore. It's just not. I mean, there's a little bit of that nostalgic flair, I guess, as you just mentioned, the scenery, you know, like you think about some of those, but it's just not. So they were willing to hold it up. I mean, they finally caved. But I guess if they didn't, there would have been no playoff. Like, how much power did the Rose Bowl have? I didn't really understand what was all going down there.
I'm not sure either. Yeah, the Rose Bowl itself is still a great venue and everything like that, but like, the Rose Bowl matchup is really what people want, because guess what? We can go to the Meineke Care Bowl and make it part of the playoff, and everybody will show up there and stampede that town and make it a great situation because of the matchup. You know, those other bowls like the Orange Bowl and Fiesta Bowl, they are the big ones. They were the New Year's Day bowls, but the reason they got a part of the college football playoff and the BCS is because of their sponsorship and their history. But now we have new history. You know, you got to remember, at first there was a situation where the BCS bowl just went with the bowl game to bowl game, and now we have its own national championship game. The national championship game isn't in a bowl game. The bowl games play out. You play your orange, you play your sugar, you play your rose, and the semifinals are in those games. And then we have a new destination for the actual national championship game. So you just want to be a part of the mix. And I think the people on the Rose Bowl board are smart enough to realize, like, all right, we can be the granddaddy of them all. We can have this cool parade out here in Pasadena, California. We can have this cool stadium and have a cool sunset. But if we're not a part of the semifinals, then we're going to end up being the Mayo Bowl or the Cheez-It Bowl. It's just going to be another bowl game amongst the others.
No, you're right. And again, this is just sent, again, this isn't like a shocking breaking news type of headline. It's just, you know, we were always waiting, you know, wondering when it was going to happen. I guess now, like, I mean, look, I've always, since it started, I was like, love the 14 format. Don't expand. It's here. It's not a hill I'm ready to die on. I'm not that angry that it's going to 12. I was just pointing out that, hey, if you ask me, if I got to pick, I like it at 4. I love this. Kev, we have no idea what's happening this weekend. None.
Nope.
We have no idea what's happening this weekend.
I know what's going to happen. Utah's going to win.
And the reason we don't know what's going to happen is because we as Buckeye fans, we watched our team lose, and there was a lot on the line against that team up north. Not bragging rights, not the tradition, not the rivalry. No, it was a chance to compete for a national championship. Hell, not even the Big Ten championship, although that does come with it. But to me, it was the Buckeyes lost out on a potential chance to win a national championship by losing to that team up north. If this was a 12-team playoff format, Kev, they lose to that team up north, we're still angry. The traditionalists with the rivalry, they're still angry. But ultimately, as Buckeye fans, Ryan Day, he's like, well, I guess we'll just go beat up on Tulane, and we might run into Penn State again. We've owned the Big Ten, so no worries about that. Clemson, well, this isn't Trevor Lawrence's Clemson Tigers anymore. So, okay, that's fine. Like, I don't know.
They beat him.
Game days for those are going to be epic. It's going to be awesome. But I just feel like when you take some of what you're playing for out of the equation, it is what it is. Bama, Ohio State, starting in 2024, I don't know when's the next time we're not going to be talking about either of these teams and not in the postseason, because that's just basically what it's going to come down to, which isn't a bad thing. I'm not mad, but I do like when you're playing for something. That's all. But not a big deal. I think this is still going to be cool, though. Those playoff games, potential matchups from this year. Like, because people are like, well, then I don't want to hear you talking and being excited about those matchups. I'm like, you're missing the bigger point. Those matchups will be amazing. It's like March Madness. I love college basketball. I eat, sleep, and breathe college basketball. So I'm watching that from late October, early November to March. But the basketball casuals out there, you tune in for 1 month a year.
Mm-hmm.
You tune in for 1 month a year because the first 30 games don't mean anything. Then there's that conference tournament that means a lot to select few, but not everybody. And then there's the NCAA tournament that means everything to everybody. That's what these are going to be. Everyone's going to tune in for these. Utah at Alabama, that's a sight to see. Man, Clemson at Penn State, a whiteout under the lights, maybe snow just blanketing the state. I mean, my goodness, those will be sights to be seen, right? That'll be amazing. But September, October, November, I'm not saying everyone's going to disappear, but I don't think, it's not going to matter as much. We'll see.
I think it'll still matter, but something that we're going to be basically a trade-off. We're not going to have these non-conference matchups anymore. We're not going to have Ohio State traveling to Bama or traveling to USC. Well, I guess they will be traveling to USC because they're in the Big Ten. Well, we're not going to have these non-con matchups. All these, Peach Bowl kickoffs or Florida State playing LSU to kick the season off. Teams aren't going to do that. They're just going to be like, well, you know what? You want a non-conference matchup against a big dog? Well, we'll have to meet in the playoffs. We're going to schedule William and Mary. We're going to schedule Backyard State. We're going to schedule X, Y, and Z to make sure we get X amount of wins. And then if we're going to be doing that, then I want to have these conference games expanded. I want the conference season expanded. I want to have more conference games if we're not going to have these games against the SEC and ACC and everything like that. You still have your traditional rivals, those ACC, SEC matchups, but I don't think that people are gonna or schools are gonna go out on a limb and say, you know what, let's go ahead and schedule Washington. Let's schedule a home and home with Washington, or let's schedule a home and home with Team X or Team Y. They're gonna keep it real vanilla. They'll play their conference schedule, and if the only time we see a big out of conference matchup will be in these semifinals or college football playoff situations.
See, that's funny you say that, and I agree with you. But my page is just is blown up with people saying this is going to force teams to bulk up their non-conference, and I'm like, how?
For what?
Like, you had to bulk it up. You were supposed to bulk it up. For instance, Ohio State, they put Notre Dame on in Texas. Like, by the way, Ohio State's supposed to play Alabama here in a couple of years. I would bet money that matchup doesn't happen now. Why? There's no need for that matchup to happen now, outside of selfishly us as fans wanting to see it. So Ohio State beats Bama. Now they're in the playoff. They were already in the playoff. If you lose that game, you lose in blowout fashion, then you risk, now you have to play with you know what I mean? Like, I think it's more of a risk than anything, to where the reward outweighed the risk of it in the 14 playoff. I think in a 12-team playoff, I think that's kind of silly. I mean, if you're Ohio State, you want to stay under the radar in a 12-team playoff. Just keep doing your thing. Just keep winning. Win the Big Ten. Oh, we lost to Michigan. That stinks, by golly. Cooper, come on, get your stuff together. But, we got to stop worrying about Cooper, because now we got to focus on the college football playoff now coming up. I don't see that being the case. I guess, and by the way, 518-1410, why do you guys feel that way? Because Kevin and I are on the side where I think this is going to hurt the non-con. I don't think teams are going to bulk it up anymore. There's no need to.
Yeah, you'll get, like, I don't know, Rutgers and Vanderbilt, they'll play, but it won't be these powerhouse programs going up against each other like the Ohio State-Texas matchup. That's probably not going to happen. Ohio State, Georgia, like those type of matchups probably aren't going to happen anymore, because, outside of, it being cool for the fan base, what do they get out of it? Because we pack the shoe regardless. We pack the shoe if it's that team up north or if it's Akron. It's a full stadium. Yep. So, we as fans can try to push the envelope and force these schools to play up against each other. I mean, I'm all for it. I would love it. I mean, shoot, remember that game? It was a couple years ago. It was Georgia went to Notre Dame. It looked awesome. Like, these are two teams that rarely, if ever, play.
Auburn at Penn State.
Yeah, those are cool. Those are cool matchups to see, because we already know, okay, man, this year Penn State's traveling to the team up north or vice versa, whatever. Like, we already know those, but like having those matchups come out like years in advance, and you get the countdown, like, oh man, 2 more years till we travel to Alabama, 1 more year and we're down in Alabama. Oh man, it's the year that we go to Alabama to play them. We'll show them what we really do in the big. Like, that's exciting. To have that taken away from us as fans really sucks, and to only have it potentially in the playoff is just bad for business, man. It's just bad. So I'm not a fan of that, but ultimately, just like everything else, we'll adjust. We adjusted to it, the NFL, with the expansion of the NFL playoff. We'll adjust to this in the college football playoff expansion.
Yeah, next year, for instance, just the scene to visualize Ohio State at Notre Dame. We've seen them play plenty of times. That was kind of cool seeing Notre Dame at the Shoe this year.
Yeah,
that was neat. It was neat and unique. But to me, Ohio State at Notre Dame, like, that's a different element. That's a completely different element. I don't know why, but just, you know what I mean? That's going to look weird. It's going to look cool. It's going to have strange vibes that we're not going to get in the non-con anymore. So that's the thing, too. By the way, does this force Notre Dame to join a conference?
Nope.
I mean, they'll never get a bye. They'll never get don't feel bad for them. I don't. You want to swim in those waters, that's fine, but this doesn't benefit them at all. And at the end of the day, I guess the one positive to this, it might save college football's conferences. It might save the Pac-12, because this is set up to pull a representative from the Pac-12 and the Big 12 and the ACC. Well, no, because one of them is going away then. How's that working?
I don't know. I think conference is going to be around a longer than we initially expected. I think with USC and UCLA, they'll make adjustments. I think they'll make adjustments. I know something came out recently about another deal reached between I believe it was the Big 12 and ESPN for extension of their contract. So I think when this news comes out, we're all, myself included, like, oh man, well, this is going to change it forever. It's going to demolish it. It's going to end. It's all over for conferences. And then a couple months go by, the season goes by, things get worked out behind the scenes. Yes, it won't be the same as we loved it, It just changes, and we adjust, and we keep watching.
All right, Nicole Arbach, just to repeat the tweet from earlier, she said that if the Buckeyes land at number 5 this coming up Sunday, the Rose Bowl is they're strongly considering taking Penn State instead of Ohio State. Sources tell her and The Athletic. So very interesting to keep an eye on that, which I'm happy about. I don't want to watch Ohio State be forced. We talked about that with Jason Fitz the other day. I don't want to see that be forced. Or maybe get an Ohio State LSU matchup, an Ohio State Tennessee matchup, or maybe Ohio State Alabama. Who knows what's going to happen? It'll probably be Clemson like usual in the Orange Bowl or something. Who knows how that'll work? All right, folks, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio. The last college football story we have includes Brian Hartline, who yesterday we talked about between Brian Hartline, Deion Sanders, and some other big names, potential candidates to take the Cincinnati job. We actually heard an official statement from Brian Hartline himself that impacts the Bearcats and the Buckeyes. We'll talk about that on the other side. Plus, I'm here to tell you, in our power rankings that we're going to give for the NFL, because that's what we're doing next.
NFL?
Rankings, yes.
We talk NFL on this show?
That National Football League.
Oh, the other football league.
I have 7 teams ahead of the Bengals in my top 10. I'll tell you who those 7 teams are. Do you have the Bengals in your top 10?
Have to stick around and listen.
All right, we'll be right back. 518-1410. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kevin Nash.
We call it a tease, people.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
Justin, you're awesome, baby.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
Your weather forecast today: partly cloudy skies with a high of 40. Tonight, a few passing clouds with a low of 29 degrees. And for tomorrow, it'll be mostly cloudy with a high of 53. I'm Eddie Zellick for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Ohio, DraftKings Sportsbook is coming. To celebrate, all new customers will receive $200 in free bets. Plus, 5 lucky customers will win a $100,000 free bet. That's right. DraftKings Sportsbook is giving you $200 in free bets just for signing up today. No deposit required. Plus, you'll be entered to win a $100,000 free bet when you sign up. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and sign up with code WING1410 to get $200 in free bets to use once mobile sports betting hits Ohio. Plus, 5 customers will win a $100,000 free bet only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code WING1410. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966. 21 and up. Physically present in Ohio. Eligibility restrictions apply. See terms at DraftKings.com/sportsbook. Subject to regularity licensing requirements. 1 per customer. $200 issued as $825 free bets. No purchase necessary for sweepstakes. Void where prohibited. Ends first day. DraftKings is allowed to operate in Ohio. See terms at dkng.co/OH.
Mode X Tequila Bistro, not your typical Mexican restaurant. Experience a sophisticated twist on the Tequila Bistro style of informal eating and drinking. Authentic Mexican food using quality ingredients from fresh pressed tortillas to house-made sauce and premium margaritas. Visit us for happy hour and enjoy our full-service bar. Televisions to view your favorite sporting event. Mode X Tequila Bistro in the Green for the best cuisine straight from the oven. Mode X Tequila Bistro for a fun, casual, and late-night dining experience.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-743-8080. That's 1-800-743-8080. Or go to SelectQuote.com. 1-800-743-8080. That's 1-800-743-8080.
SelectQuote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at SelectQuote.com/commercials.
Don't put it off any longer. You know it's time. Time for a bathroom upgrade by Bath Creations. Bath Creations is a leader in bathroom renovations, providing the very best value in bath and shower remodeling, and proudly made in the USA. With Bath Creations, you get a beautiful modern bathroom that's safe, comfortable, and affordable. Attention first responders, veterans, and active military. Save $500 off your purchase right now. Visit Poe Avenue in Dayton or online at mybathcreations.com and upgrade today.
You can't always see bad weather coming, so it's essential that you're able to see through it when you drive. Michelin wiper blades with advanced technology hug your windshield like a Michelin tire hugs the road, channeling away water, snow, and ice so you can see clearly, drive confidently, and breathe easy. Michelin wiper performance, clearer than ever. Upgrade to Michelin premium wipers today at Walmart, Amazon, Tire Kingdom, and other fine retailers.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Go to 4hims.com/joy. At Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation and discreet shipping if prescribed. You'll love your results. To start your free online visit, go to 4hims.com/joy. That's FORHIMS.com/JOY.
Have you heard? $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right. My friends at Cordell Transportation are now hiring Class A CDL drivers for home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freight with brand new equipment, and offering a $5,000 sign-on bonus paid over 18 months, paid orientation, company 401k. Plus, they're now hiring recent truck driving school graduates. Apply today. Online at CordellTransportation.com. Driven to succeed.
Creative Foam is opening an office in Vandalia, Ohio, and is hiring. On-site interviews Monday through Friday at 3337 North Dixie Drive in Dayton, or apply online at creativefoam.com.
My heart was racing just making spaghetti. I could have waited to tell my doctor, but I didn't wait.
I was short of breath just reading a book. I could have delayed telling my doctor, but I didn't wait.
They told their doctors and found out they have atrial fibrillation, a condition which makes it about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. If you have one or more of these symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness, this is no time to wait. Contact your doctor.
Brought to you by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
I just found someone the perfect gift. And when my friend asked where they could get it, I said only at Kohl's. I've been gift shopping there and getting Kohl's Cash every day while saving on must-haves like sweaters from Croft & Barrow and Sonoma Goods for Life starting at $19.99. Cookware from the Food Network at 20% off. And cute booths from So and LC Lauren Conrad starting at $23.99. Plus, you can take an extra 20% off or save more with the Kohl's card. So get to Kohl's now. You'll thank me later. Select styles, 20% offer until December 11th. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
You want more local content from Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM? Make sure you subscribe to the WING 1410 Dayton YouTube channel, where you can watch all your local shows live or go back and rewatch previous episodes of The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, The Keith Byers Show, Talking Out Loud with Sully, and more. Reds fans, Arrowhead Tax Service brings you the Justin Kinner Show, live from Reds Fest this Saturday at 11 a.m. on Dayton's radio home of the Reds, 1410 ESPN Radio, and online at wingam.com.
That's right. We'll be live at Reds Fest, the Duke Energy Convention Center, coming up this Saturday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. We'll hear from current and former Reds players, Reds front office members, and Reds media members as well. But it's one of my favorite events to do. I did get confirmation that the Caravan is also coming back. There'll be more dates and information on that, here in the next month. But we're at that. This is like the first time where I felt like, okay, things are really transitioning back to normal post-COVID for us, because we haven't done Reds Fest in 2 years. Right. We didn't have it in 20. No 20, no 21. So, yeah, it's going on almost 3 full calendar years without it. So we're excited to be back, but I want to give a shout out to Arrowhead Tax Service, Michael Maxwell and company for jumping on board and being a sponsor, helping us be able to have the chance to go down to Cincinnati, set up shop, hang out with current and former Reds players, front office personnel, of course, and some of the media members. Marty Brenneman's going to be on hand too, a retired media member right there. So he's always out and about, but I'm excited to catch up with him. That's for sure. Real quick, Brian Staley. Brian, we did talk about this already. He messages in on Facebook. Will the expansion of the playoff encourage or discourage teams to beef up the non-conference schedule? Kevin and I in agreement. I think it's going to discourage it. I shouldn't say discourage it. It might encourage more of the Penn States of the world, right? I always live in my Ohio State bubble, and I realize that we're a part of the few teams that are built like that.
Mm-hmm.
This, I guess, would be, the Penn States of the world. They're still going to, I'm just hoping that the 14 playoff is what is going to ruin the 12-team playoff. The 14 playoff ruins the 12-team playoff because we are so conditioned to, if you're not in the top 4, you don't matter. So even if you're in the top 12, we're still not going to look at you. We're still going to look at you a certain way. We're still not going to give you that same energy that we're giving the top 4 teams. Like I think it's going to need to take a playoff or 2 of the 12. An example or 2 of the 8 seed winning it all. But I know you don't really get that in March Madness either,
right.
But we'll figure it out eventually. I think, it's going to be interesting. This is at least more fair than the 4, but it's still not fair. It gives more teams a shot. Well, does the MAC have a shot? No. Does this really help the American? Not really. I know it puts Tulane in there, but do you really think when the committee has no problem putting Tulane where they're at in this year's rankings, but the committee is going to be thinking playoff, Tulane's not going to get that benefit of the doubt that they're getting right now, right? You'll start to see Notre Dame. Notre Dame would probably be in this with their 4 losses, right? Like maybe it's a stretch, but you see what I'm saying. Like I still don't think some of these guys ranked where they're at in this year's rankings would be here if there was a 12-team format. That's all.
For me, it's a lot of take the good with the bad. You're going to be adding more teams, but I don't necessarily think that adding more teams, that means that these teams are going to be able to win the whole national championship. But I think you're going to be adding more like teams, which is going to create more competitive games. Mm-hmm. So I guess more competitive games is what they're looking for, because most of the semifinals aren't competitive, especially that 1-4 matchup hasn't been competitive since the Ohio State went over Alabama, seriously. Right? If I'm not mistaken. So most of those 1-4 matchups aren't competitive. So let's just say, but if you're talking about like team 7 and 8 playing each other, their chances are they got the same record. So you're expecting a more competitive football game.
So in 2014 season, Ohio State was the number 4 seed. They won. That was the inaugural college football playoff. And then after that, it was 1 versus 2. And then Alabama has they've won the championship 2 times as a 4 seed. They beat Georgia in 2018.
Overtime.
Yep. And then they won it again. I'm sorry. That was the only time. My apologies. Yep. This list, keep forgetting. This list ain't that long. So no, they won it as a 4 seed. But Alabama, let's see. So last year was number 3 versus number 1. And then before that, it was number 1 versus number 3, Ohio State, the 3 seed. The year before that, LSU was 1 against number 3, Clemson. In 2019, number 2, Clemson versus number 1, Alabama. And then the 18 one that we just talked about, number 4, Alabama beating Georgia in the 4 versus 3. Number 2 versus number 1 in 17, and Clemson over Alabama, and number 2, Alabama over Clemson, and then number 4, Ohio State over Oregon. So, yeah, but look who the 4s are.
Mm-hmm.
When the 4s did win it, it wasn't the TCUs of the world sneaking in at 4 and shocking the world. It was, you know what I mean? It wasn't a Big 12 team with no defenses that, were given the benefit of the doubt because their offense is great coming in. It's the Ohio States and Alabama's winning as the 4. So whatever, take with that what you will. But either way. And by the way, I think, and so someone just said, Brian Staley, if Notre Dame continues to schedule the Clemson, Georgias, and Ohio States like recently and play 6 ranked opponents as they did this year, they will be fine. Brian, that's fantastic. Yes, you are right. If Notre Dame schedules those teams, but those teams, I wouldn't schedule Notre Dame. If I'm Clemson, I don't need to play Notre Dame.
Well, they got the contract with the ACC that
not in
Notre
football,
Dame. Though. Yeah, they have to play X amount of ACC teams.
The ACC deserves to fold. They're the dumbest conference out there. Why?
Because you generate more money that way.
But I'm sure, why would another conferences do this with them? I'm telling you, the ACC, they're stupid. They are the whole reason that Notre Dame is able to do this. They're like married, but they're not. Clemson and Notre Dame are friends with benefits. They hook up on the weekends. Then when one of them starts to get a little too close, you're crowding me, and then Notre Dame steps away for a little bit.
You hate everything, Justin.
Then they start drinking on the weekend. They're like, you up? And then they go back to hanging out again, hooking up again. I mean, stop bailing Notre Dame out, bunch of bums. Man, I hate Notre Dame. I can't stand it.
The easier question is, who do you like and what do you like? Because you hate everything.
I hate Notre Dame not being in a conference. Getting a conference, I don't have any. And I love Marcus Freeman. I'm a big Marcus Freeman fan. But damn it, Mr. Freeman.
He ain't got nothing to do with it. He's just the coach.
We need nothing to do with just to coach. These coaches are all powerful just to coach. Maybe not when you lose to Marshall, but maybe he'll get some of that back when he beats Ohio State next year.
That ain't happening.
Man. All right.
Go Bucks.
So
go Utes.
I thought about this interesting little stretch that Ohio State's in. CJ Stroud said may not play, or did
he ain't playing.
So let's just go on the assumption he's not playing in the bowl game, assuming they don't make the playoff. Hell, even if they make the playoff, I mean, Ohio State has to win a national championship for this to end on a positive note.
Correct.
But Ryan Day already had this loss past weekend. Let's say he loses his next game. That's going to be a bowl game or a playoff game or national championship. Maybe he doesn't, but odds feel like Ohio State will lose one of these upcoming games because if CJ doesn't play and a lot of these stars don't play, Trayvon Henderson, of course, they've been in and out all season anyways, but that's another loss. And then you're going to be introducing a whole other quarterback. I feel like eventually Ohio State's going to run into that Clemson luck where you got your Deshaun Watson, you got your Trevor Lawrence. When is Ohio State going to run into their DJ Uiagalelei again? Like, I'm not wanting it to happen, but you got to play at Notre Dame next year. It's just a very weird stretch for Ohio State, one that we have not witnessed in a while. I'm just almost assuming they're losing games coming up, but it feels like
welcome to things that I've been telling you about for the last 3 years, Justin.
And I said when we got to that point, I'd worry about it then.
But that's why people worry. That's why people worry beforehand.
Well, then your life must suck because I was enjoying the hell out of that run. I'm like,
no, I was enjoying it, but I know at some point these things don't last forever. They just don't.
That's for Alabama.
No, that's not true.
Just saying.
Actually, Ohio State's run of dominance has been longer than Alabama's.
Well, I consider dominance national championships, not one a decade. I'll take Alabama's run over Ohio State's.
Well, all I'm saying is not when I was a kid, because they won a national championship over Miami, I believe, when I was real young. But like after that, after the Gene Stalling years for Alabama until Nick Saban showed up, they were god awful. And I'm talking like last in the SEC bad. And that was like when the SEC East was dominant with Spurrier and Mark Richt down at Georgia. So like these things are cyclical. So we're going to have a dip. There's no doubt about it. Eventually we'll have a dip. And people that thought like, oh man, Ohio State is going to beat Michigan until the end of time. Like that's just not how this thing works. That's not how sports work. Eventually other teams get their stuff together. And it looks like that team up north got their stuff together. And last year wasn't a fluke. They won fair and square.
They let felons play when they're not supposed to. Did you see that?
Well, no, I didn't.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
Well, I'll let you look it up first because, context matters and you're the context king. So I'm going to let you look that up. But yeah, they kind of brushed something under the rug. It's kind of convenient that after the Ohio State game, something that this team has known about with this dude since October, now all of a sudden he's getting,
how good is he?
He's a starter on defense.
Well, that defense played lights out, a day of that. Wouldn't mind having a couple of them dudes on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Once you get to the pros, I don't care where you went to school.
What's that?
Oh!
What's that?
Steelers won on Monday Night Football, by the way.
What's that? No, wrong. I didn't play that.
Hey, Kenny Pickett.
The only guy.
Don't be mad.
Well, I mean, I'm not mad.
Don't be mad.
I mean, that's the only quarterback ranked below Joe Burrow in the AFC North right now.
We're coming, man. We're coming. Going to finish the season 8.
So John Slayton said he'd fit right in with the Steelers.
Let's get it. Let's get it, baby.
Get him, John. Get him.
And you're going to help me win this Super Bowl.
All right. So you know what? With all this craziness, with all this college football talk, we've been talking NFL.
Oh, other sport.
It's Thursday now, and we've had to wait till Thursday to talk NFL. I told you that in our NFL power rankings, I have 7 teams ranked ahead of the Cincinnati Bengals in my power rankings. We're going to get to Kev's in a moment, but all right, let's do it. You've waited 3 days and an hour of the show. You can wait a little bit more. We're going to get to this on the other side.
Cool, because I had to pull up my notes.
NFL power rankings next. For real this time, I promise. And no matter what comments in the comment section are college football related, I will do my best to not get distracted by them. Try your best, though, because good ones always matter. But we'll be right back. 7 teams ahead of the Bengals in my power rankings. Can't wait. I feel like I'm generous with my number 8 ranking, to be honest with you. The Commanders, though, this is one of the few. Yeah, good Commanders.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Justin Kinner back with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Get ready, Ohio. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, is coming to the Buckeyes State. And to kick things off, you can get started with $100 in free bets as an early sign-up bonus. Plus, when you sign up today, use my promo code Kinner, Kinner. Then you will be all set for when FanDuel goes live in Ohio. Then you can bet on all of your favorite teams and all of your favorite sports with $100 in free bets. I think that's pretty cool. All you got to do is download the app. When you register, you use my promo code Kinner, my last name, Kinner. And then you're going to have $100 in free bets waiting for you in your account when sports betting goes live here in the state of Ohio. Just download FanDuel's top-rated sportsbook app. It is safe, it is secure, and it is super easy to use. Come on, Dayton, this is your chance to get in on the action. Use my promo code Kinner when registering your account today, Kinner. You have $100 in free bets waiting for you. Come on, it's a heck of a deal. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
O'Reilly. See the road ahead more clearly with Sylvania bulbs and O'Reilly Auto Parts. Right now, purchase select Sylvania bulbs and get up to a $20 gift card after mail-in rebate, plus 2 times old rewards points. Replace your bulbs today and see better tonight. Let the professional parts people help you find the bulbs you need. Visit O'Reilly Auto Parts or O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Craftsman Days at Lowe's are going on now. Get limited time savings across the store like $100 off a V20 6-tool combo kit. Plus, enter the Craftsman Days Ultimate Garage Sweepstakes for a chance to win Craftsman products valued at over $10,000. Learn more at Lowe's.com/Ultimate Garage. Offer valid through 12/31 while supplies last. No purchase necessary. Ends 12/31. Residents of 50 USDC, 18 or older, and age of majority, and have a Lowe's.com account. Void where prohibited. See rules at Lowe's.com/Ultimate Garage for entry instructions, odd prices, etc. Sponsor Lowe's.
Buckeye football season is back. That means tailgating and parties for the big game. You need the Lee's famous recipe Buckeye Bucket. It comes with 25 pieces of the delicious jumbo breast strips for only $44.99. Of course, you can add a few of their famous country side items, buttermilk biscuits, gallons of fresh brewed Lee's iced tea, or lemonade. You have the perfect recipe for a tailgate or watch party. Cheer on the Buckeyes this weekend with a Buckeye Bucket. Order today.
Anyone who has ever needed self-storage knows what a hassle it can be. You have to rent or borrow a truck and then find someone to help you move your stuff. And let's face it, moving furniture and heavy items without damaging them isn't easy. Renting the unit is worse. The hidden fees and admin costs are scarier than the dingy facilities you're leaving your stuff in. Why not use Closet Box instead? Closet Box is self-storage without leaving home. They'll pick up your belongings, store them securely, and bring any item back when you need it. The best part? Unlike traditional self-storage, you only pay for what you store. No paying for unused storage space. Closet Box's background check storage movers are licensed, bonded, and insured and will take care of all of the heavy lifting. Closet Box's local storage centers are temperature controlled and monitored 24/7. Closet Box has an A+ rating from the BBB. Call 877-233-5696 now for the season's best rates. Get $50 off first month storage using code RADIO50. That's 877-233-5696. 877-233-5696.
Do you have foot pain? Foot pain is not normal regardless of your age or job. Podiatric physicians are the most qualified doctors to care for your feet and can provide important foot care solutions or shoe inserts to better manage foot pain. Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association podiatric physicians are located throughout the state and are dedicated to providing the highest quality foot and ankle care. We've been serving the profession and the public for over 100 years. To find a member of the Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association near you, visit associationsadvanceohio.com.
Meet Joe A,
Hi.
Joe B,
Hello.
and Joe C.
What's up?
3 everyday Joes perfecting their banking with Chase. Joe A is locking his lost debit card with the Chase mobile app. Joe B is cruising toward his new ride with AutoSave. And Joe C's Chase banker is helping him budget to go back to school. Tools that help protect, support for what's next. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Messaging and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Okay, smile naturally. Perfect.
Cam's photography knows wedding season ramps up in a flash.
Smidge closer.
They need to say I do to a studio assistant before clients go full Bridezilla.
I'm so sorry. I have to get a different lens. I'll be right back.
Indeed can help them hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Where do holiday happenings take over every aisle? Lowe's, actually. Experience the magic of Winterfest at Lowe's and save big on gifts like Craftsman tools and ring devices.
Frickin' chicken chunks, frickin' chicken chunks, frickin' chicken chunks, frickin' chicken chunks.
When there's no time to make food for your holiday party, carry out 4 pounds of frickin' chicken chunks for only $34.99. Give the gift that always fits. A $25 Frickers gift card and get 5 frickin' bonus bucks free. Let them get what they really want.
When it comes to tax season, we generally see 2 different scenarios. Situation 1, do your taxes yourself.
Oh, $1,400? Oh,
Situation number 2, we do your taxes for you.
I'm getting back $1,400? Oh,
See, we can save you money. Take a little back this year.
Arrowhead Tax Service will help you save money. 113 West Jefferson Street in New Carlisle. All new clients save 10%. Online at arrowheadtaxservice.com.
If you need new roofing, siding, or gutters, skylights, or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding in Fairborn has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Lance Roofing and Siding, 8460 Dayton Springfield Road in Fairborn. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722 or online at lanceroofing.com.
Well, I'm a orthopedic surgeon, board certified.
Meet Dr. John Herzog, who's certainly done his share of knee and hip replacements. But these days, he's encouraging his patients to look at regenerative medicine options, now available at QC Kinetics.
I'm kind of the anti-surgeon right now, and a lot of my buddies, if they hear me talking, they're going to give me a call.
Dr. Herzog says advances in regenerative medicine can give your achy joints lasting relief, using highly concentrated healing agents from your own body to repair and restore damaged tissue.
We take the fluid out of you, we concentrate it and putting it in an area where they couldn't normally get to and facilitate healing.
Are you suffering from constant pain due to arthritis or injury? Maybe it's time to look at alternatives to drugs and surgery at QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in these exciting treatments.
What could be more natural than using your own body to heal yourself?
Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 937-936-0325. That's 937-936-0325. 937-936-0325.
Where can you smell fresh pine from the curbside pickup line? Lowe's, actually. Explore the holiday fun and check off every gift on your list during Winterfest at Lowe's. Save on tools and more.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Skinner, Kev Nash, back with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Dayton Flyers come away victorious last night by 20 over Western Michigan. Dayton in the half court can cure insomnia, man. That was brutal last night. But when you win games, I mean, like last year they played poorly and they lost by games. They played poorly last night, but they won by 20, so more power to them. I said to take the under, or as far as them not covering, I didn't think they'd cover. They won by 20, so they covered by like 2, I believe. It was like an 18-point line. That didn't matter. We know they can't shoot, but it's always interesting hearing the announcers just surprised at the fact that they can't shoot. There's nothing to be surprised about. They couldn't shoot when they were healthy. They couldn't shoot last night. Just, man, I'm a big fan of that Sherajov's kid, though. That freshman, man, like he just has this vision. I mean, when he gets that ball in his hands, he's just long and lanky, and he's seeing things before some of his teammates even do. But that kid's going to be something special. He's already really good. I can't wait to watch him continue to get better. But hey, they came away victorious. They're back in action on Saturday. But Talking Out Loud with Sully, presented by Tim's Bar and Grill, that's going to be coming up. We're actually going to kick that off. Sully's going to take over for us at 5.
Nice.
5 to 6, Talking Out Loud coming up here tonight. The rapid reaction of last night's win over Western Michigan. Now, keep in mind, Western Michigan, that's an opponent that no one really cares about. It wasn't really about the opponent last night. It was about how was Dayton going to respond coming back from the Bahamas, where they dropped all 3 of the Battle for Atlantis showcase that they were in. So how do they respond last night? Again, they won by 20. There's still a lot to be concerned about. But again, when you're a fan of a team and your team wins while still playing poorly, it makes it feel a little better, even though, there's still a lot of worry about what this team's going to look like when they start facing better teams. But there you go. Wright State in action tonight. They have Robert Morris. They are, I think, like a 12.5-point favorite. They have Robert Morris, a 7 o'clock tip-off that is at the Nutter Center. They're back in action. They return home. A lot of college basketball. How about Ohio State dropping to Duke last night at Cameron? So that was probably, I don't know if we'll ever see Ohio State at Duke again, but at least in the immediate future.
Right.
So, but close one to the end.
Yeah. I mean, this is the end of the ACC Big Ten Challenge, but it'll be another challenge. Maybe they play the teams from the Big 12 or something like that. So maybe they'll be going to play Kansas on a yearly basis or something like that.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. All right, Kev, enough of the college football talk, man. Enough of that nonsense. NFL. Well, heck, what week are we heading into right now? I mean, I should know this because Deshaun Watson's coming back. You think of that as a Browns fan that I would know kind of where we're at within the season, but I do know there's only 6 games remaining in the regular season, but it's week 13. Week 13 is officially upon us. In fact, tonight, the Bills and the Patriots, Thursday Night Football. That one looks better on paper than what it is, but the Bills, give them credit. You want to talk about a team that is winning while not playing well. The Bills, they keep winning. Now, they didn't look good against the Browns. They won. They didn't look good against the Lions. They won. We talked last year about Baker Mayfield's injury when he had that big brace on his non-throwing shoulder, his non-throwing arm. I don't think I've ever seen a quarterback play decent with a brace on his throwing shoulder. Josh Allen is playing with a brace on his throwing arm. Look, I think that's risky. By the way, where are you at that, by the way? Like, if he doesn't need surgery, but he's banged up, I mean, it's kind of like that Baker injury last year where, at some point you could put it off. There are things you could do in the meantime, but, like, it's kind of a double-edged sword there. You want to keep playing and competing, but they clearly don't look the same ever since this injury to Josh Allen happened.
Yeah, he has to keep playing because of what the Jets and the Patriots are doing. Like, everybody, including myself, expected the Jets to be absolutely a train wreck. And, kind of the Patriots are kind of where I expected them to be, basically a 500 football team.
Win a couple, lose a couple.
Yeah, but the Jets are throwing a monkey wrench into this whole scenario. Like, all right, man, you take 2 weeks off and get healthy and come back. They have to keep playing and they have to keep winning games because the Jets keep winning games. So if you're just a race between you and the Dolphins, that's one thing. But now it's a race between you, the Dolphins, and the Jets. And then the Patriots just won't die.
So that's tonight. Bills in New England. They're at the Patriots. Buffalo is a 4-point favorite. Who do you think comes away with this one, by the way?
I'm going to go with Buffalo.
Buffalo.
I'll go Buffalo.
I think Buffalo, again, it's not going to be pretty. It's going to be an ugly football game. But then again, if it's an ugly football game, New England usually goes out. So it's like, I don't know. I'm torn, but I'm going to go with Buffalo for right now. The Patriots right now, there's something that's odd about them. You're hearing rumblings about Tom Brady next year because he's a free agent after this year. Many people think he's going to retire going back to New England. But if you're Tom Brady, you can go anywhere you want to go. Why are you going to go there where there's no weapons? But they do have money. Maybe there's a little like, hey, let me decide who the hell we bring in here and let's win one more to close off his career. Who knows? But there you go. But the Bills, Patriots, they kick off week 13 tonight. Your team, I know this isn't part of this segment, but your team is a 1-point favorite on the road at Atlanta. Would you just get the hell out of the Browns' way? Would you let us, come on, get out of the Browns' way?
No, we're going to make this as painful as possible for everybody involved. We're going to make it painful for the other teams. We're going to make it painful for me to watch. We're going to make it painful for the people that want them to tank and get a higher draft pick. We're going to make this painful as humanly possible. As long as we're still in it, we're still in it.
All right. Well, the Steelers playing better football, but
they're playing so much better.
Not top 10 football. I don't think they're not in your top 10.
No. They're not playing top 10 football, but they're actually completing the forward pass. They're actually running the ball for over 4 yards a carry. Improvement, Matt Canada. I see you making improvement.
Canada.
Still want you gone, but an improvement.
All right. So with that being said, we know the Steelers are not in Kev Nash's top 10, but it's time for our top 10. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Week 13 of the NFL season is officially upon us. A lot of storylines about Joe Burrow against Patrick Mahomes, the Bengals and the Chiefs. The Bengals, they've kind of owned Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, or at least they did last year. The Chiefs are to the Bengals what the Bengals are to the Browns. I mean, it's just kind of a very weird dynamic. What? It's not a hot take. It's true. But that's an interesting storyline. Deshaun Watson is back. What does that mean for the Browns in the playoffs? Nothing. I don't think the Browns are making the playoffs, but I am eager to see what this team is going to look like with Amari Cooper and David Njoku, Donovan Peoples-Jones, David Bell. He's kind of had some big games the last couple of weeks. Offensive line, but Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt. There's a lot of things I'm excited about to see what the Browns look like with Deshaun Watson. The Steelers playing better football. Man, oh, man. But as we currently sit here right now, we have not given out our power rankings in quite a few weeks. So it's officially time we kind of reset a little bit here. Kev Nash, we're going to start with you. For those watching on Facebook and YouTube, here is Kev Nash's top 10, his power rankings, if you will. Kev, go down your list.
All right. So number one, the Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City Chiefs are high-powered on offense. Defense is playing a lot better. They have their arch nemesis this week, the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm looking forward to watching this matchup for multiple reasons. The Cincinnati Bengals not only beat them once, but they beat them twice. And importantly, in the AFC Championship game to punch their ticket to the Super Bowl. They're sitting at number one. They're the best team in the NFL right now. Sitting at number two, 10-1 Philadelphia Eagles. I know people think they got Philadelphia figured out since they lost that one game to the Commanders. But guess what? Commanders playing some good football, and nobody is going undefeated in the NFL. I'd be surprised if the Eagles don't drop at least 2 to 3 more games this regular season. But currently, got them at number 2. Number 3, your favorite quarterback in the entire world, Tua Tagovailoa with the Miami Dolphins. Got them sitting at number 3. Your other team, the Dallas Cowboys. Look, man, Micah Parsons went on a 3 or 4 week spell where his name wasn't popping up on the stat sheet, where he wasn't making crazy plays all over the place. Well, guess what? He did that to the Minnesota Vikings a couple weeks ago, and then he did the same thing on Thanksgiving Day. Dallas Cowboys sitting at number 4. Your other favorite quarterback, Jimmy G, who gets credit for everything. The 49ers, are sitting at number 5. Defense is getting healthy. They pitched a shutout last week. A shutout is something you really don't see in the NFL too often. That defense is lights out. D'Amico Ryans, former linebacker in the NFL. He should be a head coach in the NFL next year. They are playing lights out football, not only running ball, but playing good defense. And Jimmy G is not turning the ball over yet. Number 6, the Buffalo Bills. Yes, Josh Allen is super banged up, but guess what? They keep winning games. They actually won 2 games within a week where they only practiced twice. So that is outstanding. They literally didn't practice the game that they played the Browns, and then only practiced twice the week before they played the Detroit Lions back in Detroit. They were in Detroit twice in less than a week and only practiced twice. It's amazing.
That sounded impressive until you said they played the Browns and the Lions.
Hey,
then it all makes sense. But no, it was impressive.
Now, the Minnesota Vikings, they were sitting pretty until they weren't sitting pretty anymore. Like you said before, we haven't done these in 2 weeks, but they got beat down by the Dallas Cowboys. And that brought them back to reality. That brought everything back to reality. Hey, man, because people started thinking that they were going to be headed to the Super Bowl or the playoffs started that upcoming week. They had a great victory over Buffalo, in Buffalo, that great one-handed catch. And then they got brought back to reality versus the Dallas Cowboys getting blown out 40-3. But then they got a win over the Patriots. So they're looking like they're getting right back on track. They got the Jets this week. So I got the Vikings at 7. Hello, Cincinnati Bengals. You are coming in at the number 8 spot for me. We'll see where Justin has you guys, but you're looking like you're starting to hit your stride. And T. Higgins is looking like a number one receiver. Like all this talk about like he can only throw to Jamar Chase. Looks like T. Higgins woke up. Looks like that run game is woke up, even though that Mixon had a concussion. They still play some good football. Defense looking like the playoff defense, even though it was against the Titans again, but they did shut Derrick Henry down in the run game. So I got the Cincinnati Bengals sitting at number 8. And this is where it gets real tricky. This is where it got very difficult for me. So if anybody comes at me and says, no, this team should be number 9. No, this team should be number 10. Guess what? You're probably right. So I just went with the New York teams. I went with the Jets at 9 and Giants at 10. I'm probably wrong. Commanders could make a play for that spot. I don't know. Steelers could make a play for that spot. I mean, the Browns could make a play for that spot. I think there's a clear line where it's about 8 teams in the NFL where, like, all right, we know what they are. And then there's a whole bunch of blah, and then there's a whole bunch of, and right now, the Jets and Giants, they're in the, I guess, because you can't put the Ravens up there because as soon as you thought that, okay, they're overblowing these leads, they blew another lead. And then you look at the stat sheet and then you look at the game. I saw a replay on Monday. I was out on Monday and I caught a replay of that game. It was on NFL Network. And I saw 4 touchdowns dropped. 4 touchdowns dropped. And it wasn't by, you know, the receivers like that you never heard of for the Baltimore Ravens that they constantly roll out there. Mark Andrews dropped a touchdown. And he's an all-pro tight end. He dropped a touchdown. And on all 4 of those drops, they had to kick field goals. So it's not only the defense blowing leads, it's the offense not able to capitalize in the red zone by scoring touchdowns and having to kick 4 field goals. So, yeah, man, Ravens, you're not in my top 10 until y'all decide y'all can win games that y'all lead in the fourth quarter and by multiple touchdowns.
So there you go. Kevin Nash's power rankings. The Chiefs, Eagles, and Dolphins at 1, 2, and 3. The Cowboys and the 49ers at 4 and 5. Bills, Vikings, Bengals fill out 6, 7, and 8, and then the Jets and the Giants, the New York teams at 9 and 10. Trey Green on Facebook, Kev, says Lamar Jackson got hurt in practice. Trey, is that like something that just came out today?
Yes, he hurt his quad is what I saw.
So was that like just being cautious with him this week? Or this is about the time he got hurt last year. Remember the difference is last year. Well,
everybody got hurt.
They were in first place last year at this time. They were in first all last season, and then he goes out, and they went from first to worst. They were last in the division. So, yeah, it'll be interesting. David Shaw, nope, Shaw, you're not going to hijack the show. Of course, he picks what Michigan story to tell. Blake Corum out for the rest of the season.
That sucks.
Injury. Sorry if you already talked about this. I'm just coming to the show today. Yeah, Shaw, I like how you lead it off with that. What about your other player on Michigan?
Maisie Smith?
Yeah. Well, how amazing of you not to bring up that story. But there you go. That was Kev Nash's power rankings. Yes, we'll talk about the Michigan storyline in a moment with Blake Corum and what that means for the Wolverines. All right, that was Kev Nash's power rankings. Kinner's power rankings officially up on the screen as we currently sit here right now. The Chiefs, number 1 team in the NFL. The Bengals have a chance to really kind of make some major headlines coming up this week. It's been talked about all week how Joe Burrow and the Bengals just seem to have Patrick Mahomes' number. Now, keep in mind, that AFC Championship game last year was very odd because I enjoyed the first half.
I wonder why.
The first half, I mean, the Chiefs could do no wrong. I mean, it's like the Bengals were stunned. You ever watch those games where you talk about it, the game starts, and then you get punched in the mouth so fast that you don't even know what's happening next. It's like, and then the Chiefs made a couple mistakes heading into the locker room. They were screaming at their coaching staff. It was just very weird.
If I'm not mistaken, Eli Apple had an interception in the end zone on that last play of the first half, right?
Mm-hmm.
So as much as myself included and everybody out there bangs on Eli Apple's performance in the Super Bowl, let's not forget they wouldn't have made it to the Super Bowl without him making that play.
Oh, David Shaw said it was legal, by the way. He's defending him. Of course he defends felons. I mean, that's just typical Shaw. But no, the Chiefs, I love that first half in the AFC title game last year. I hated the second half. But in all seriousness, that was such a weird, they both played the same halves, just they flipped, and the Bengals got the ball last. And then, of course, the legend of Evan McPherson just continued to grow nonetheless. But I don't know what to expect with this one. Have you seen the line for it?
I have not. I can find out, though.
Well, Chiefs, Bengals, for right now, though, the Chiefs, they're the top team. Look, Patrick Mahomes is the MVP, unless he just completely falls off a cliff for the next 5 or 6 games. He's your 2022 MVP. No one's played the position better than he has. And I say the position knowing that the MVP is a quarterback position or a quarterback award, but that's just where we're at. But I have the Chiefs number 1. Cav, I have the Dolphins at number 2. I think that if you put Joe Burrow on the Dolphins and Joe Burrow had those numbers, everyone would be drooling over Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow's not even putting up Tua Tagovailoa numbers. Tua has been without 2 games. Tua is the number 2 quarterback in the NFL right now. The Dolphins are the number 2 team in the NFL right now, in my opinion. When Tua plays, they're undefeated, Kev. When Tua plays, they're undefeated. When Tua plays, that offense, I mean, that is a dynamic offense. When he doesn't play, that offense, it loses a step or two. They haven't won when he's not on the field. I think that says a lot. Statistically, he has been dominating in every facet of the game. We all laughed when in the offseason when Tyreek Hill was just propping him up, and everyone's like, okay, he's just overselling his new quarterback, whatever. No, I think he was right. I think we all need to admit that maybe Tyreek Hill was right. Good for the Dolphins, because the Dolphins and Tua, that's why, to your point earlier, that's why Josh Allen is playing through this injury, because he has no choice. They thought with this division, with the Patriots, with the Dolphins, with the Jets, no worries there. He can maybe sit for a game or two to kind of get this thing right, but he can't. He's out for a week or two. When you lose a game or two, the division looks completely different. I give all the credit in the world to the Dolphins at this point. I have the Eagles at number 3. What'd you find?
Chiefs favored by 2.
Chiefs favored by 2. And that's in Cincinnati or in Kansas City?
Cincinnati.
It's in Cincinnati. Something tells me the Bengals come away with this. I think it's going to be a close one.
Good old Paycor.
Look, I know what it's like to have that matchup that you own. And the Bengals have that matchup that they own with the Chiefs right now, right? Like, I don't know. For right now, I might roll with the Bengals over the Chiefs coming up this weekend. But Chiefs 1, Dolphins 2. I have the Eagles coming in at 3, Kev. Everyone acts like when you lose a game, that's it. The Eagles, we knew they were a fraud. Stop it. No one goes undefeated, ever. Like, it's happened like twice in the regular season in the history of the NFL. Let's stop acting like that's a common thing that happens. Good teams lose football games. It's a long, grueling, physical sport, season. And on top of that, but the Eagles are number 3, mainly because they're the most consistent on both sides of the ball. I mean, you look at the fact that right now, they are as dominating offensively as they are defensively. And I didn't want to buy into it at first because I was like, his first couple of weeks, I need to see. Jalen Hurts looks like the real deal as well. It's kind of fun to see another quarterback emerge onto the scene as a star in this league. 2 great seasons already from Jalen Hurts and Tua Tagovailoa. There you go. I have the Bills at 4, Kev. They are dropping. I've had the Chiefs and Bills at 1 and 2 all season, but I didn't want to knock the Bills down too much more than that, just because they keep winning.
Right.
So it's not like they, if they were losing and I was bringing up injuries, then it'd be like, well, they're only losing because of injuries. How deep do you have to be as a team to be banged up and injured? They're missing key guys on defense. Josh Allen has a little brace on his throwing arm, and they're still winning football games. That says a lot about the willpower that they have. Cowboys at 5, right there in the middle of the pack, right there in my top 10. The Vikings at 6. The record speaks for itself. I think that they are a more tame Cincinnati Bengals. When the Bengals are completely healthy, we know how explosive that offense could be. That's the Vikings. It's just more, it's like calmer. And I think it's the gap in the quarterback. The gap between Kirk Cousins and Joe Burrow is pretty significant. But what Kirk Cousins does with those weapons is still pretty damn impressive as well. Justin Jefferson. I mean, y'all talking about Jamar Chase. I'll take Justin Jefferson any day, but you can't go wrong with either one of those two. Joe Burrow had both of them MFs on his roster at LSU. It's no damn wonder he was a national champion there. My goodness. 49ers coming in at 7, Kev. I think right now, too, this is another team that's found ways to win games despite, battling injuries all season. They're also fortunate to play in a bad division and play in the NFC. They're able to fight through some things a little bit. But, Kev, they give up 70 yards a game, or 70 rushing yards a game. You can't run on this team.
No,
you can't. And right now, it's one thing when you have to go up against that type of run defense in the regular season, but come playoff time, when the pass games take it away, I mean, think about what that means. You're in the NFC. Who are you going to face in the postseason? Kirk Cousins. Who are you going to Kirk Cousins? Bad quarterback play in the NFC. So a lot of teams are going to be really relying on the run, and the 49ers aren't going to give that up. I have the Bengals at 8. They're ascending. They're moving up. I wasn't going to put the Jets there, but the Bengals beat the Jets. So I got to keep the Bengals ahead of the Jets right now. The Jets I have coming in at number 9. But the Bengals at 8, right now they're all trending in the right direction. But the reason I have them in the top 10 is not because the offense. The offense took a hit the way we thought it would, by the way. Horrible offensive output against the Browns. Average offensive output against the Panthers. They had that big explosion from the run game with Joe Mixon, but Joe Mixon's disappeared since then. So that was it was like a average shooter in basketball that just went off in a game. And it's like, well, we won because he went off in a game, but that's not who he is. So where are we going to get those points from the next game? That's what the Bengals have been figuring out. then the pass game exploded against the Steelers, but the pass game was just against the Titans this last week. So a lot of up and down, but I think they're heading in the right direction. And if they get Jamar Chase back, which they should this Sunday, I have them winning, and they will definitely shoot up Kinner's power rankings because everyone cares so much about Kinner's power rankings. So there you go. The Jets at 9, as I mentioned, just when I want to count them out, all of a sudden they make that quarterback change, and they just literally exploded this past weekend. There's something there with the Jets, and it's because the defense, Sauce Gardner, and everything, all the pass rusher that they have. His name is
Jermaine Johnson.
They have all the pieces to be successful. They're just a quarterback away. That's why you're hearing Aaron Rodgers' name be floated around for next season and all this. But Mike White might just be the guy to kind of get that.
I mean, he had a great game against the Cincinnati Bengals last year. And
I remember.
he kind of fell off the cliff after that game. But I mean, I'm sorry the head coach is drawing a bite. Saleh. He's got to be thinking like, look, man. Especially in today's NFL, where we've seen teams move on from quarterbacks after a year or two very quickly. Like, these head coaching jobs, there's only 32 of them, and you got to win, and you got to win big in New York. So he's got to be thinking to himself, like, look, man, whatever, dude. Like, if I can get Aaron Rodgers next year, or if Mike White is playing better football than him, than young gigolo Zach Wilson, then he's going to be sitting on the bench.
So number 10, I have the Commanders.
Commandos!
I can't go with the Giants. I haven't been a true believer in the Giants all season. I remember a while back you said, the Jets, Giants, we're talking about which one do you feel more confident about? It's always been the Jets. The Jets just have more firepower. I think they look better on paper, and it's matching that. The Giants,
more Buckeyes on their team too, by the way.
That always helps too. But the Giants, I just haven't been a big believer in all season. But you know what? The NFC East, you asked this question a while back, has a full division ever made the playoffs? No, it's never happened before.
Is it mathematically possible? I guess I need to ask that question too. Google will find it out for me.
So right now, if the playoffs started today, it's never been done before, but the NFC East, all 4 teams would be in the playoffs. And I think we're close to seeing that in the AFC East as well.
Right.
But it'll be interesting to see if either of those divisions make that happen. And there you go. That is Kinner's power rankings.
Question for you.
What up?
Worst division, NFC West or NFC South?
The AFC West?
No, NFC South or NFC West?
I'm going to say the South because the West at least has a contender. I mean, the Niners and the Seahawks at least provide some weight to that. And the Buccaneers, we keep giving them the benefit of the doubt because of Tom Brady. But I mean, how many of the teams under 500 are we still contending? We are only considering the Buccaneers Super Bowl contenders still at this point of the season because of Tom Brady, and they're under 500. We won't give any other team in the league that benefit of the doubt. That's the power of Tom Brady. But the West is better than the South. But I mean, that's tallest short person. That's the argument of which short person is taller. I mean, it doesn't really. What contest did you win?
Look at some of the teams they've lost to. They lost to the Green Bay Packers, who are not a good football team. They lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers, are not a good football team. They lost to Carolina Panthers, who are not a good football team. They got blown out by the Panthers, by the way, 21-3. They lost. Who else did they lost to the Cleveland Browns, who are not a good football team. So look at some of these losses that they've accumulated throughout the regular season, and they're still in position to make the playoffs. Like, so that's the craziest thing about it to me. Like, they can still make the playoffs, and if they win their division, they'll host a playoff game. Very bad. So I am actively rooting for the Falcons outside of this week, obviously.
All right, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash here on 1410 ESPN Radio. We just did our power rankings, or NFL power rankings. I know you guys are probably saying, God, enough NFL, more college, right?
Another question for you.
What you got?
The Rams. Like, it's almost like they don't exist. Like, I hear no slander towards the Rams, not towards their superstar defense with all these Hall of Famers like Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, McVay, the McVay coaching tree, everything that it was almost like they lost the Super Bowl.
I mean, they've been banged up all season. I mean, Stafford's done for the year. Like, all these guys are out. Like, I just think it's just kind of one of those where
ain't nobody on that defense out. Them dudes is out there playing bad.
But I don't know. I think that the Rams, they started out poor, but the second injuries, I felt like the second that Matthew Stafford got hurt, remember all that talk of whether he should play or not? Like, that was that weird vibe heading in, like, something's not right.
I demand slander.
Winning cures all.
I demand slander, because if this was the Dallas Cowboys, Stephen A would be laughing his butt off.
Rams won a Super Bowl.
So that cures all?
Yes. I mean, you
that
kinda
gives
get
you
the
a
benefit of
pass
the
for the
doubt.
next year?
When you're injured, yeah.
Nah.
Oh, absolutely.
Nah.
Now, when you lose the Super Bowl and then you use injuries as an excuse the next year, you're sad. That's a sad fan base right there. I'm not.
They're 7-4.
Huh?
They're 7-4.
They'll lose eventually. It's okay.
Oh yeah, they'll lose another
They play
game
the
or
Browns.
two.
They play the Browns in a couple weeks.
The Cincinnati Bengals definitely losing a game or three.
I changed my mind. They're losing to the Chiefs.
But the Rams are just skating by. Nobody's talking about them losing.
They're injured. They're not the same team. Like, who cares? Like,
Don't care. Don't care. Don't care.
All right, we'll be right back.
Slander.
518-1410. We're having all this NFL conversation. And
Buccaneers are injured. They're still in first place.
David Shaw Stop.
They are. They are injured.
By accident.
Hey.
In first place.
Tom Brady's getting it done.
Oh, geez. By the way, we're sitting here trying to have an NFL discussion, and here's Shaw. The sticking point is his application and his license for his gun was approved days after the arrest. Well, then there you go.
Know what that bell is?
My gosh.
It's all good, man. He played, man.
We're talking NFL, and he's over here trying to put his lawyer cap on. Oh, my gosh. The sticking point, his application license was approved days after the arrest. So the way he was transporting the gun was considered a concealed weapon. Hey, rules are the rules.
I need to check his stats versus Ohio State.
Hey, it's a typical dirty Michigan program. They knew about it. By the way, Amani Bates, the star basketball player for Eastern Michigan, one of the Michigans. Western Michigan was that brutal team we saw last night, UD, and then they were just trying to bad play one another. It was a brutal game.
I would have loved to see Amani Bates down at the arena last night, see him drop 24.
Oh, but Amani Bates, if they had Amani Bates, they're definitely beating UD last night without, but they played 35 horrible minutes of basketball. They finally flipped the switch in the final couple of minutes. Man, that was brutal. But Amani Bates, same thing happened. He was suspended immediately. But Eastern Michigan, they're a more, up and up program than that team up north. Bunch of bums. You hide stuff. And then how convenient the week after the Ohio State game. Then all of a sudden, we can't condone this.
For $1 American dollar, what is the mascot for Eastern Michigan?
Let's go. I gotta say, like at one time, like so it rolls off the tongue. The Eastern Michigan Trojans.
Wrong
nope,
again.
Give me three guesses. The Eastern Michigan. Hey Alexa, what is Eastern Michigan's mascot?
According to an Alexa
Come on,
Answers
man.
contributor,
Hold on.
Wolverine. Did that answer your question?
They're the Wolverines?
No.
Alexa, no, it did not. You're horrible. Go away. All right.
Eagles.
Thanks. You're welcome.
Eagles.
Cry, Eagles, cry.
For $1 American dollar, where is Eastern Michigan University located? You'll never get this.
On the east side. We'll be right back.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
Your weather forecast today: partly cloudy skies with a high of 40. Tonight, a few passing clouds with a low of 29 degrees. And for tomorrow, it'll be mostly cloudy with a high of 53. I'm Eddie Zellick for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Houday Nation, Betfred has come all the way from England to the great state of Ohio with over 50 years of sports betting experience. No emperors, no movie stars, just a sportsbook you can trust. The Betfred Sportsbook app will be available on January 1st, 2023. Until then, download the Bengals app or go to betfredsports.com and have a chance to win Bengals tickets and exclusive merchandise. Official sports betting partner of the Cincinnati Bengals. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966.
Kick off the holiday season at Club Oceano Seafood and Bar. Our scratch kitchen offers seafood entrees unlike anywhere else. Or if you prefer, a delicate steak cooked to perfection, paired with a handcrafted cocktail or a glass from our extensive wine list. Club Oceano Seafood and Bar at the Green. Perfect for lunch, dinner, or a special occasion. Private room seats up to 50. The best happy hour Monday through Friday, 4 to 6. Complimentary valet parking Friday and Saturday evenings. Club Oceano Seafood and Bar at the Green. Make your reservation today.
Hi there, I'm your host, Dog, filling in for the human who's normally here and bringing you the smells and sounds of the holidays, courtesy of Beggin' Dog Treats.
We wish you a begging Christmas. We wish you a begging Christmas. Dog rest ye merry Doberman, let begging you acquire. Deck the halls with strips of begging. Arf, 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 arf.
Remember, for bacon-loving dog excitement this holiday,
It's begging!
Today on Hey Culligan, reverse to reduce. Here's Bob.
Hey Culligan, I love fresh water, but I got plastic bottles coming out.
Whoa, Bob, you are not kidding about the bottles. But did you know Culligan's reverse osmosis and always-on drinking water systems provide fresh, clean, delicious drinking water and help reduce the equivalent of over 15 billion plastic bottles from landfills worldwide?
Holy, fresh, environmentally friendly drinking water. Am I right?
Right, Bob. And we're already on the way. Let us help you out with free in-home water tests from a local Culligan water expert at Culligan.com.
This is Doug Ute, Executive Director of the Ohio High School Athletic Association. High school coaches can be the biggest influence on kids having a positive experience in sports. Sports set the foundation for life lessons that remain long after playing days are over.
This is Gene Smith. Please join Life Sports at The Ohio State University and the Ohio High School Athletic Association as we partner with the Susan Crown Exchange on its Million Coaches Challenge. Get involved and learn more at go.osu.edu/CoachBI.
Want to get a $1,000 Visa card from your Medicare plan? At WellCare, our Medicare Advantage plans are simplified so you can enjoy all the great benefits you care about most, like our WellCare Flex card, a preloaded debit card that gives you up to $1,000 to pay for extra dental, vision, or hearing expenses not covered by your plan, like hearing aids, dentures, prescription glasses, co-pays, and more. It's just one more way WellCare is improving every aspect of Medicare to give you access to the top-tier benefits you want most, plus a little extra. To learn more about WellCare, visit wellcareforoh.com today. That's wellcareforoh.com to enroll today. WellCare, it's Medicare done well. Benefits vary by plan. WellCare is the Medicare brand for Centene Corporation, an HMO, PPO, PFFS, PDP plan with a Medicare contract and is an approved Part D sponsor. Our DSNP plans have a contract with the state Medicaid program. Enrollment in our plans depends on contract renewal.
Start your holiday gift giving with Esther Price Candy's traditional gold boxes. Variety of holiday baskets, corporate trays, bourbon cherries, holiday gifts, and much more. Visit any of their 7 locations in Dayton and Cincinnati, or shop online at estherprice.com and ship your family and friends their favorites. Your holiday tradition is at Esther Price Candies.
The homemade goodness everyone likes. There's a whole lot sweeter with fine chocolates from Esther Price.
Traveling, volunteering, spending time with family. What's your retirement look like? With income planning from Fidelity Wealth Management, a dedicated advisor can help you grow and protect your wealth. They'll look at your full financial picture and help you create a flexible strategy that considers things like market conditions and healthcare expenses, so you can stop worrying about the future and enjoy whatever comes next. Visit fidelity.com/income planning. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, member NYSE, SIPC.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
I just found someone the perfect gift. And when my friend asked where they could get it, I said only at Kohl's. I've been gift shopping there and getting Kohl's cash every day while saving on must-haves like sweaters from Croft & Barrow and Sonoma Goods for Life starting at $19.99. Cookware from the Food Network at 20% off. And cute booths from So and LC Lauren Conrad starting at $23.99. Plus, you could take an extra 20% off or save more with the Kohl's card. So get to Kohl's now. You'll thank me later. Select styles, 20% offer until December 11th. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
I'm so stressed about my business not being ready for the holidays.
Ooma.
What is that? Meditation?
I'm recommending the Ooma cloud phone system with auto attendant and more than 35 features.
Ooma?
Yep. Switching to Ooma is a cinch. Starts at $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Now you're feeling it. Visit Ooma.com. That's OOMA.com to learn more. Ooma, smart communications for the smarter business.
Staples stores are a new world of possible with innovative tools for small business and remote workers and learners. Explore more at your local Staples store or staplesconnect.com.
Hey everybody, it's Stephen A. Smith, and everyone knows my feelings on Cowboys fans. But really, Justin Kenner, you're a Cowboys fan and a Browns fan? Good Lord have mercy. I don't know what the hell to do with y'all. I really don't.
It's the Justin Kenner Show with Kev Nash. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Justin Kenner back with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM, 518-1410, 518-1410. That's the number to call and jump in on the conversation. So with everything going on right now, this story that broke earlier today, that Michigan star Maisie Smith is facing felony charges for carrying a concealed weapon. The original offense date was back on October 7th. It's interesting. It's December 1st. He's played in all 12 games. That's interesting. October 7th. He played in how many games after this? He's facing felony charges. This isn't like a misunderstanding. Like, it's felony charges here. Like, let's be clear. For comparison, again, Eastern Michigan's Amani Bates, he faced gun charges and he was suspended immediately. Michigan, well, we got to trust the judicial system. Okay. If you say so. So this story, again, to give more details, and again, this is coming from the Detroit News. Kev Nash back with us here. I was told to do my homework, so I did, but I need to prove that Shaw's wrong as usual. Michigan defensive lineman Maisie Smith on Wednesday was charged with carrying a concealed weapon, which is a felony, according to the 15th District Court online documentation. The original offense date, Kev, was October 7th. It's December 1st. According to records. Now, the day before Michigan played at Indiana. Now, Smith is scheduled for a probate cause hearing on December 8th. So keep that in mind. He's represented by Ann Arbor attorney John Shea. Now, there's a tweet making its round. It's John Shea's Twitter account. And, of course, it's just him being a super fan of Michigan and blah, blah, blah. So, just thought that was kind of cute. But anyways, so the prosecutor, Eli Savitt, told the Detroit News on Thursday that there was no unusual delay from the time of the offense to when charges were brought. Savitt said his office received the police report on October 14th. Got the police report on the 14th when this incident happened on the 7th.
Mm-hmm.
And he approved the request for charges on November 17th. So you got it on so the timeline. Let me get this correct. Let me make sure. So the incident happens on October 7th. Nothing's done about it. The police report isn't official until a week later. And then it's an entire month later, coincidentally, the week after the Ohio State game. I mean, my goodness, you guys don't care about the Big Ten championship game? You didn't want to just push it off just one more week?
Run that timeline for me one more time.
So the original offense date was on October 7th. Okay. And Eli Savitt told the Detroit News on Thursday that there was no unusual delay from the time of the offense to when charges were brought. Savitt said that the office received the police report on October 14th, 7 days after the offense date, or the incident date.
So the night before the Indiana game.
Yep.
And then they received the report the night before the Penn State game.
Yep.
Okay.
So what's interesting is a gun is found. There's no license. There's no registration. There's no anything for it. And he wasn't arrested. Now, again, I'm not advocating for someone to get arrested, but if you have a unmarked gun, how are you just going home? That doesn't make any sense. Like, I'm not trying to stir the pot here, but you know what? The pot is kind of full, so give me a spoon. Let's do this thing. Like, am I wrong? What am I missing? We've seen these types of situations escalate to a lot worse situations.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy just got to go home. I wonder why. He's an athlete. Let's protect him. Got found with a gun that's not marked. That's not anything. He's not registered, nothing. Okay. That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make absolutely any sense. And then, so I don't know.
Continue with the timeline.
So that was so where are we at right now? Where we at? Was November 17th.
Yep.
So Savitt goes on
November 17th. That is 2 days before the Illinois game.
So the timeline. So 2 days before the Illinois game. So, I mean, like, again, felony charges. It's now officially in the books. And Michigan's just like, yeah, go play. We got a Big Ten championship to win. We got to prepare for that team up north, or we got to prepare for that team down south. The timeline for charging on this case was unremarkable, Sabat said. Unremarkable. The incident involving Mr. Smith occurred on October 7th. He was not arrested on the scene, and we received a police report on October 14th. We approved the request for charges on November 17th, a month and some days later, and the warrant was sworn out before, a magistrate this week. But my thing, again, how is he not arrested?
The happiest people in this situation, this entire no, not us. We lost to them. The happiest people in this situation is the police department in Poughkeepsie, Michigan, because when they pulled Imani Bates over and he had an unregistered gun in the car, they did what they're supposed to do when somebody has an unregistered gun. You put them in handcuffs, you arrest them, you run the report, you call your parents, you handle your business the correct way. So kudos to those policemen up there for handling things the correct way. Now we can go into the minutia about, paperwork getting lost and yada, 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 yada. I mean, look, man, we can do that whole song and dance if we want. Look, to be perfectly honest, and I will be here, if this was name your outstanding defensive player on Ohio State, I know it's very hard to name some of those guys this week, but we do have some. We'll leave names out of this. But if this was an outstanding player for Ohio State that did a criminal activity and the Columbus Police Department came down with the hammer and arrested him and drug him through the ringer, and Ohio State was, we're going to suspend our outstanding soon-to-be first-round draft pick for the big game versus that team up north, we in Buckeye Nation would be having a fit. We will be in a rage. So kudos to the University of Michigan for playing him, because they know that football is the king of kings. They know the importance of winning this football game. They know, hey, man, it is what it is. He ain't going to be here that much longer anyway. He'll be going to the pros very soon anyway. And if we got a chance to beat them in Ohio, let's beat them. If we got a chance to make the playoff because of this kid, let's play him. He didn't hurt nobody. Play ball. So, yeah, I'll pick fun at it. But ultimately, if this was an Ohio State player, an outstanding player for Ohio State, and we didn't have him first that game, I'll be highly upset. So kudos to Michigan's police department.
According to Michigan's penal code, Kev, the felony is punishable for up to 5 years in prison and a fine up to $2,500. So my guess is no time in prison. I don't really want that. I don't really care either way. I'm just pointing out the irony in this is all like, because if it was, to Kev's point, if the roles were reversed and this article came out about a Buckeye player, Mr. Shaw, I'm pretty sure, would not have been combing through articles to do his homework and blah, blah, blah. So give me a break. Stop with the do-gooder mentality over there, buddy. Just saying. But at the end of the day, I mean, remember when Chase Young years ago, and I actually got on Ohio State about that, by the way, because they knew about the Chase Young thing, and then they conveniently waited till after one of their bigger games. I think it was like the Penn State game or something. They waited till after that, and then they waited to self-report when they had a stretch of like Maryland, Rutgers, and Indiana or something, where it was just like and then a bye week. That's what it was. They reported heading into a bye week, and then coming out of the bye week, they had like Indiana, Maryland, and Rutgers, and it was just a bad stretch. They got ripped for that because then he conveniently got the 3-game suspension, and he didn't really miss any time at all.
Good job, Buckeyes.
And again, we see this all the time. These guys, and even the police departments in some of these areas, unless it's something absolutely really egregious, they're gonna maneuver some things. I'm not stirring the pot. I'm not angry. I'm not losing sleep over this. I'm just pointing out the irony in this story and how the timeline just conveniently happens to be. It got on our desk at this time, and we were able to strike this week, the week after the Ohio State game. Give me a break. Give me a break. This kid's not going to jail. He'll pay some fine. But, guns are a serious topic. I'm not trying to get into a little after-school special, but, you have a gun. It's not registered. What kind of cop out there just all right, yeah, no, absolutely. Just provide us any information you have whenever you can. Okay, thank you. Bye. Have a good night, sir.
Go Blue.
Tell the family I said hello. Hey, real quick, you take a picture with me?
Selfie with me, buddy.
Yeah. Oh, and here is the attorney for the case, Mr. David Shaw.
What's up?
That's more like it. That's the Shaw we know.
Because you can't. I mean, you read one article and you think you're now the expert of the whole damn process.
You told me you got mad because I didn't read an article. Now I've only read one article. My goodness.
I mean, I'll give you kudos. You finally read an article instead of just running your
Actually,
mouth.
I'd already read the article. I just pulled up the article. I'd already read it earlier in the day. But
congratulations, and you still don't even know half the story. Do you understand he bought the weapon legally?
if he did, then he wouldn't have a court date, sir.
Funny how that's already been suspended because weird. They've showed the documentation.
Does he have a court date or not? Why are you getting all defensive at this anyways? It's weird.
Because you're being a typical Kenner. That's why.
Hold up. Kev's doing it too. How come you're not yelling at him?
Because Kenner has class.
Thank you.
I mean, not Kenner, but
nope,
Kev
you
has
said
class.
it. Thank you, Sean. Thank you. That's a good way to end that call. All right. It's the Justin Kenner Show with Kev Nash right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. I always love the opinion of our listeners, and the opinion of our listeners is that Kenner has class. We'll be right back.
The Justin Kenner Show with Kev Nash. Presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Ohio, DraftKings Sportsbook is coming. To celebrate, all new customers will receive $200 in free bets. Plus, 5 lucky customers will win a $100,000 free bet. That's right. DraftKings Sportsbook is giving you $200 in free bets just for signing up today. No deposit required. Plus, you'll be entered to win a $100,000 free bet when you sign up. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and sign up with code WING1410 to get $200 in free bets to use once mobile sports betting hits Ohio. Plus, 5 customers will win a $100,000 free bet only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code WING1410. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966. 21 and up. Physically present in Ohio. Eligibility restrictions apply. See terms at DraftKings.com/sportsbook. Subject to regularity licensing requirements. 1 per customer. $200 issued as $825 free bets. No purchase necessary for sweepstakes. Void where prohibited. Ends first day. DraftKings is allowed to operate in Ohio. See terms at dkng.co/OH.
Dude, that girl from sales is here at the bar. She asked about you. Did you get my text?
Hey, it's Liz. We were supposed to meet tonight for a movie, but you're MIA. Whatever, loser.
Hey man, karaoke tonight, dude. Karaoke! Where are you?
Let Arrowhead Tax Service take care of your taxes and save you time. 113 West Jefferson Street in New Carlisle. New clients save 10%. Online at arrowheadtaxservice.com.
Have you heard? $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right. My friends at Cordell Transportation are now hiring Class A CDL drivers for home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freight with brand new equipment, and offering a $5,000 sign-on bonus paid over 18 months, paid orientation, company 401k. Plus, they're now hiring recent truck driving school graduates. Apply today. Online at CordellTransportation.com. Driven to succeed.
Tackle tough jobs with Metabo Power Tools and accessories from Menards. Metabo Power Tools are packed with features you need and the power to get the job done right. That's why Metabo is the choice of pros. Find the right tool with our huge selection of Metabo nailers, saws, drills, drivers, bits, and blades. Save big on Metabo Power Tools and accessories now at Menards. Plus, a Menards gift card is always a great gift idea.
Warm season's greetings to you all from Menards.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
Frickin' chicken chunks, frickin' chicken chunks, frickin' chicken chunks, frickin' chicken chunks.
When there's no time to make food for your holiday party, carry out 4 pounds of frickin' chicken chunks for only $34.99. Give the gift that always fits. A $25 Frickers gift card and get 5 frickin' bonus bucks free. Let them get what they really want.
This view was worth a hike.
Right? And it's a good way to stay on top of my health.
Yes, I'm Cologuard, a prescription colon cancer screening option for people 45 plus at average risk. Have you screened for colon cancer?
Not yet.
Don't wait. It's more treatable when caught in early stages.
Tell me more.
Cologuard is non-invasive and it's used at home. It detects altered DNA in your stool to find 92% of colon cancers.
92%?
Yep, even those in early stages.
This was seen in a clinical study with patients 50 and older. Any positive result should be followed by a diagnostic colonoscopy. False positive and negative results may occur. Cologuard is not a replacement for colonoscopy in high-risk patients. Do not use if you have had adenomas, have inflammatory bowel disease and certain hereditary syndromes, or a personal or family history of colon cancer.
Most insured patients pay $0. Ask your provider or an online prescriber if Cologuard is right for you, or visit Cologuard.com.
I'm in.
It's time to say goodnight to that check engine light with the free AutoZone Fix Finder service. It'll help troubleshoot the likely cause of your light for free. Restrictions apply. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
There are many ways to catch the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. You can catch it live right here on 1410 Wing AM, or you can stream the show at wingam.com. But now we have another way that you can take in the show. You can now watch the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash live on ESPN Dayton's Facebook page. Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio. College football playoffs, Browns, Bengals, Buckeyes, and more. Catch the Keith Byers Show Mondays at noon on 1410 ESPN Radio.
What?
Oh, didn't know the mics were hot. Hello.
Shaw's a what?
Shaw's a great listener.
At the end of the day, he somehow is. I don't know why he listens, but he listens, and I appreciate it. I really do. People may not realize that, but I don't know why Shaw does tune in, though.
Because we have a great show.
We actually get along better in person. There's something about his voice on the phone that just irritates me. But he comes out to all of our live shows. We get along just fine there.
How's he doing in Kinner Top 10?
We haven't done a Kinner Top 10.
Uh-oh.
I'm checking my list.
Twice.
I'm going to check it twice.
That's messed up about Blake Corum, man. Season-ending injury.
That stinks.
That stinks.
Ohio State rivalry or not, that stinks because you're healthy all year, and then to get an injury before the biggest game of the season against Ohio State, and then of course obviously they didn't even need him.
Right.
But you got the Big Ten championship coming up. You probably don't need him for that matchup with Purdue necessarily either, but the playoff.
Yeah,
that has to be a serious injury, man, because that happened against Indiana.
Illinois.
I said Indiana, I meant Illinois. The week before Ohio State, and then he tried to go against Ohio State. He's a Heisman contender, by the way. I mean, by the way, he probably, we're talking about that being a quarterback award. With the way Ohio State couldn't stop the run, if the numbers that they're running, what's their number? Their second
Edwards, Donovan Edwards.
Yeah, they're second string. And I say that,
the track guy.
I say that respectfully, by the way.
Goodness gracious.
That kid is unreal, or he's either unreal or he's not, and we made him look unreal, but he looked pretty damn unreal. But the bottom line is at this point, maybe he wins the Heisman if he has that performance against Ohio State.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it'd have been viewed by 17 million people. It's down to 3 people, like we talked about earlier in the week. It's Caleb Williams from USC, quarterback, Max Duggan, quarterback at TCU, and Blake Corum. And now that obviously he wasn't able to play against Ohio State, he won't be playing this week in the Big Ten championship. He'll probably get a chance to go to New York and watch somebody else hoist the award, either Caleb Williams or Max Duggan. It's definitely a 3-guy race. Nobody else should even show up to New York.
How serious of a contender was Stroud before Michigan?
He was there, top 5.
See, I never said this because I just would be viewed as a negative Buckeye fan, but but statistically, he's having a great year, but I don't know. He hasn't popped off the field. CJ Stroud hasn't popped off the field all season. Like maybe, I don't know why. That's very weird because you look at the numbers. If you're a numbers guy, they're there. It's warranted. And I wouldn't be angry if he got the invite to the, whatever, but I just didn't feel like he was having a Heisman type of season. I was big on Hendon Hooker before he went down, although their numbers were pretty dang similar. It just maybe because Hendon Hooker was new to the tape. I mean, I don't know.
I don't even think it's a Hendon Hooker was new thing. I think those games were a lot closer for Tennessee. So you needed Hendon Hooker to play at an outstanding level. Like what CJ Stroud was just a lot of the stuff that he was doing was in the first half, like, all right, well, we're up 30. Time to just hand it off, run the clock, and we're out of here. And then, they were wonky against Iowa, but he still won by like 40. They put up 50 points. Wonky, but like it was really no moments. Like he didn't have to have any like, all right, man, we're down 10 in the fourth quarter. We need 2 tutties to come back and win. Like he just was never put in that situation. The sole situation he was put in as a team was this past weekend versus that team up north, and obviously they weren't able to get it done. So I think it's like the lack of moments, but Caleb Williams has a ton of moments. Max Duggins has a ton of moments. We make fun of them for, having to come back all the time, but that provides the moment. That provides the quote unquote Heisman moment. Like, you mean they were down to Baylor on the road with their playoff hopes hanging in the balance, and he led 2 fourth quarter touchdown drives to take the lead? Like, that's a storyline. Like, that sells.
So Forrest on Facebook says because they never play real teams. I know what you're saying, but at the same time, I see what he's saying.
So who doesn't play real teams?
It's almost like CJ Stroud's being punished for how good they are. Because Penn State's a real team, but you still saw the gap between a real team in Penn State and Ohio State.
We got to stop with this real team stuff, man. We just have to stop with this.
I know what he's saying, but you're right. It's acting. But this is a result of the playoff.
Yes.
The playoff contenders are real teams and everyone else doesn't matter.
Exactly.
So that it's not Forrest's fault because I think like Forrest, so that's why I'm defending Forrest. We have been conditioned for the last 8 years. You're either a playoff team or you don't matter. That's why the bowl games stink now. That's why guys are bailing before the season's over now. That's why coaches are bailing on their teams before the season's over now, is because we have conditioned us for the last 8 years. If you're not a playoff team, you don't matter.
Right.
There's a bowl game left. Like I say, there's a game left in this season. Stop it. I can't sit here and say these games are meaningless and then get mad at Fickle because he's bailing before this meaningless game. But it's just the principle of it, I guess, and it's talking points I like to use to defend my case. But no, seriously,
Fickle, it's fine.
It's the playoff has as fun as it has been. I think it's going to take at least a good 5-6 years for us to shake ourselves of that mindset. The 12-team playoff could be healthy for the sport. As much as I think it's going to hurt it, I think it could be healthy for it because we've been conditioned 4 teams, the rest of you stink.
Yep.
That's not necessarily the case.
And to piggyback on that, it's really, people that say, all right, man, the 3 teams, you guys are okay, but this 4th team, this team that's backdooring their way in there, you're just in there because we need a 4th. Like, people don't even respect the 4th team because there's always an argument about who's going to be the 4th team. And like the reason I say we have to stop with this, they don't play anybody stuff. Well, most of the Big Ten schedule is in the conference. Like, you have absolutely no control over your conference opponents. You can't control it. You play who you play. And for the non-con, I mean, would you want them to play Alabama week 1, then you want them to play Arizona State week 2, and then have them play Clemson week 3, and then play, I don't know, Tennessee week 4, and then you play in the Big Ten schedule. Like that's what you want? If that's what we want, then fine. No more undefeated seasons, no more this, no more that. And there's a lot of pride that goes into a lot of this stuff. So, I mean, it's already the mini NFL. What's one more step, right?
So with that being said, so it's just, I get what he's saying, but I think because there wasn't that big matchup, the only game that would have put CJ Stroud back on that Heisman list would have, the only game that mattered, the only game that had any substance to it was that team up north.
Yeah.
You beat Michigan on that stage.
Yeah.
Whatever. But look, Indiana, all these teams, there was no moment, to really say he was going to do it. But, I don't know. His legacy is always going to be a weird one.
Oh, man.
It's not fair because statistically, one of the best 2-year stretches for a Buckeye quarterback, but it's on par with Justin Fields. It's on par with the 1 year we saw Dwayne Haskins. Well, Dwayne Haskins is a Buckeye legend for the 1 season he played. Justin Fields, a Buckeye legend for the 2 seasons he played. And those numbers are very similar. And Stroud's ahead of them on some of those. Bottom line is the Michigan, 2 losses to Michigan and just the weird exit. If they don't make the playoff, he's going to have one of the most unceremonial exits from Ohio State that I can remember for a quarterback. Like, it was sad watching Fields leave. It stunk watching the 1 year of Haskins, because with Haskins, it was that, oh man, what could have been if, he would have got the year before and all that stuff.
Oh, if
too.
we had a defense that year.
Yeah. So
yeah, he's all but said that he's not playing in the bowl game unless it's the playoff game, and it's a weird situation. As a talented quarterback he is, but just things didn't come together for him. And I if Shaw didn't go so bonkers on us earlier, I would ask him their equivalent to that, and I would think the equivalent to CJ Stroud's career at Michigan would be a guy like Chad Henne, because if you look at Chad Henne's numbers, he's crushing it in all the passing stats, touchdowns, yards for Michigan. Obviously, his senior year wasn't a great year, but his freshman, sophomore, and junior year when they played Ohio State at the shoe 1 versus 2, like he was balling out of control. But technically, he has no hardware to show for it, that being a Big Ten championship or national championship or even like a college football playoff appearance for that matter, unless Utah handles their business. Go Utes.
All right, that's going to be interesting nonetheless. By the way, Brad Mays, what up, Brad? He goes, Shaw is half right, by the way, about the gun thing with Mays or whatever his name is. No, Brad Mays, but the Mays, the player,
Maisie Smith.
Maisie Smith. But Brad says he did purchase the gun legally, but was carrying concealed without a permit, which is the felony charge.
Tisk.
But and then Shaw responds, yes, and he did get arrested, but he went through all the CCW classes and all that came in the mail 2 days after the arrest. But that was 2 days. That's like if I went out right now without a driver's license, got pulled over and got ticketed or arrested or cited for driving without a license, and then I go get my license the next day and then take it into the police station and say, hey, by the way, I got my license. What are you talking about, Shaw? That's dumb. Then he goes on to say that he let the AD know and all. He goes, this is a lot to make about nothing. Stop saying that. I hate when he says that. The tunnel was a lot to make about nothing. What are you talking about? Stop acting like these
3
stories
fights
are
in one season.
Let's be clear. Michigan is not interesting enough for stories that are nothing to become something. They're just not that interesting. They're not that interesting. So to have Michigan in the headlines for something outside of doing something that they've only done 5 times in 22 years, which is beating Ohio State, for them to make headlines, it has to be something. Stop acting like a guy that got arrested for a felony is nothing. We're not making that up. How many felonies out there are not a big deal? That is a dumb take, Shaw. It's one of your dumbest, and you have a long list of dumb ones. Stop saying that this is a story that has much to do about nothing. It's not. That's ridiculous.
Chill out, Kenner.
You know what? What did he say I was earlier? I was classy.
Yeah.
Coming from the guy that put a bunch of middle fingers in the chat section. Unreal. Hey, earlier, last thing, because we got Talking Out Loud with Sully coming up next at 5:00. Man, I got to find this because I wanted to make sure I answered. It was about Deshaun Watson, and we're going to get into more of the Browns and Deshaun Watson on tomorrow's show. Matt Sturgeon, shout out to Matt. He said, serious question, Justin, how do you think Watson will play on Sunday? What will you be looking for? And this is like such a weird matchup. By the way, I keep hearing that the NFL is doing everything they can to make sure people don't get to watch this Texans game. The NFL, you're to blame. Like, you conveniently brought him back for the Houston Texans game. I'm hearing a lot of, this is a bad look because a lot of the accusers are going to be there, and that's a bad look for the NFL. All of this is a bad look for the NFL. Like, if the NFL cared about how this looked, they would have been more aggressive on how they handle this Deshaun Watson thing. I'm not saying that they turned a blind eye to it, but at the same time, you know what I mean? They knew we got to be careful how far we go with the punishment of this because there was a lot of skeletons in the closet of the NFL that were about to be revealed. So it was kind of like we have to have a punishment that's severe enough to let people know that we took it serious.
We're not playing.
But not too severe to the point to where, if he's going down, he's bringing us down with him. But the NFL, stop act like everyone out there. So I saw like this CBS report that was like, here's how the game is going to be viewed. And it's like very tiny pockets around the country. Like, man, the NFL is doing everything to keep this game from being seen because it's a bad look for the NFL. If that was the case, the NFL would not have conveniently picked the Texans to be the game that he comes back for. I'm just saying. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. But the Texans, this is a matchup for Cleveland that they're supposed to win. They should win. And we all know that coming back after a year and a half, there's going to be a chance that he's rusty out there, that he's going to overthrow guys, underthrow guys. Okay, super. That's most likely going to happen. I have no clue. I'm not going into this very arrogant or cocky because I would love to say, man, Deshaun, he's going to pick up right where he left off. He's going to throw for 350 yards, 4 touchdowns. He's going to rush for 60 more yards and rush for a touchdown himself. That's not fair to expect. But this is a guy that was a top 5 quarterback the last time he played. I don't expect him to have a horrible game, but I also don't think he's going to be the most accurate. But this is a guy that completes, like 69, 70% of his passes. He's a 70% career pass. He completes 70% of his passes. That's higher than your God boy over in Cincinnati, by the way. Just want to throw that out there. So I know people are ready to just jump on this and watch if he overthrows, underthrows, whatever, which I watched Joe Burrow over and underthrow a ton of guys last week, and that's totally fine. He's without his wide receiver. But anyways, I don't know. What do you expect from Deshaun Watson? I told you yesterday, 250-ish. I think he'll throw the ball 30 to 35 times. I think he'll throw for about 250, 260, 2 touchdowns, an interception, maybe rush for 30, 40 yards. I don't know. I don't really know what to expect.
I'm expecting him to be rusty in the first half, and by the second half, be Deshaun Watson. It don't take dudes that long, man. Like, it really doesn't. Like, we talk about this whole rust thing and everything like that, but it really doesn't take a guy that long to get back into the rhythm of things. It ain't like he didn't practice all preseason. It ain't like he just been sitting on the couch eating bonbons and super out of shape. Yeah, he'll be like kind of winded and everything, but by the second half, he'll be fine. Like, it just is what it is, man. Like, when Steph Curry comes back from like a couple days off, oh man, he's missing in the first half, and then oh man, he's making everything in the third quarter. These supremely talented athletes, man, it don't take them that long to get back on the horse, man. It's not a situation where, like, all right, when Michael Jordan was 30-something years old and went to go play baseball and then just showed back up in the NBA expecting to be Michael Jordan. Like, it's not that. He's like 26 years old. He's a young dude. He'll be perfectly fine.
Yep, and I by the way, the coaching staffs, they're playing this brilliantly, by the way. Stefanski, in some of the offensive coaches stuff they've been interviewed today, and they were talking about how, what do you expect from him on Sunday? Well, I think what they're doing is, I think they're downplaying it on purpose. They're protecting him, saying, I think he's going to be rusty. The coaches came out today, said, I think he's going to be rusty. Now, they could really think he's going to be rusty, and he very well may be rusty. Maybe he's been rusty in practice. But you come out, you say he's going to be rusty. You let everyone around you think he's going to be rusty. Then he goes out and balls out, and there you go. But you don't go out and set the bar very high and say he's going to be fine. He's been elite in practice. He's been outstanding in practice. He's been this. He's been that.
And you help your quarterback out by calling certain plays. You're like, all right, man, let's call a bootleg or a screen, like easy passes to get your rhythm and get your confidence up. If you don't start off with a five-step drop and try to throw an 80-yard bomb, like, you just don't do that. So you're going to start off with something easy to get them back into the flow of the game.
So, but it's going to be an interesting matchup. And by the way, what am I expecting? Playoff chances for you for the Browns. I say 0.
Yeah, 10%.
You're giving them the team you don't like. The team I like, I'm giving a less percent chance to Kev.
I'm a realist.
They're 3-7 or 4-7, like in a crowded AFC, and a lot of the teams that they're going to be vying for the last 2 positions in the playoffs, they've lost to. They've lost to the Chargers already. They've lost to the Patriots already. They lost to the Jets already. These are teams that I think are going to be fighting for those last 2 spots in the playoffs. So they don't have a lot of tiebreakers. They have so much working against them. But I think the next 6 games is, let's just F around and find out.
ESPN says the Browns have a 2% chance of making the playoffs.
All right, 2%.
So you're
telling me there's a chance. There we go. There you go. So, all right, folks, Dayton Flyers basketball coming up next. At least Talking Out Loud with Sully. Every Wednesday, we have Talking Out Loud coming up for you. Usually have it at 6 o'clock, bumping it up to 5 o'clock for programming reasons tonight, so keep that in mind. But Sully and Drew, they give you that instant reaction.
Programming reasons.
To last night's win over Western Michigan. So that's coming up next. Wright State basketball tonight at the Nutter Center, 7 o'clock to tip off. They got Robert Morris. That's their conference opener tonight. Wright State's having a very strong start to the season. They look to keep it going tonight. Their first game since the Vegas 4 Invitational over in Las Vegas, of course. But they showed out. That Brandon O kid, I'm telling you, you're going to be hearing that name a lot. That Brandon O kid is going to be the next big guy out at Wright State. That's going to be really, really special. So make sure you keep in mind. You heard it here. Well, not first, because I've been hearing it around a lot of other places, but I'm bringing it to
regurgitating.
Wright State, Robert Morris tonight. Keep that in mind if you're out and about. Head out to the Nutter Center. It's going to be a good one, that's for sure.
Raider up.
Dayton Flyers basketball coming up next. Talking Out Loud with Sully right here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
Justin, you're awesome, baby.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Make sure your home's heating and cooling system is in shape for the season with the experts and community trusted service that you can rely on. From William Brockman & Sons Heating and Air Conditioning, we're offering exclusive savings opportunities on the new Lennox system. Call William Brockman & Sons Heating and Air Conditioning at 937-222-8638 today or visit us online at Dayton